What's up, y'all? We thought we was live, but we live now. This is Mr. Right Way with the Right Way podcast, y'all. Man, if y'all would have saw the conversation from years ago, we had a good one. But we are here to talk about, is the Xbox platform dead? DOA. It's crazy. But we got some special guests tonight. I got my buddies, and also we got a special guest who have been friends for over 20 years. I'm gonna talk to him in just a minute. But we got Mr. Retro Neo Ness. We got all the freaking Neo Geo back. He got a small house back there. don't show it. Look at him showing off.
What up? What it is?
Oh,
Happy Friday, Cinco de Mayo, all that good stuff, and tip
what you
in the
got?
hat.
Hey, what you got? You got a little tequila in there?
A little tequila.
A little tequila, look at tequila. I got a little some too right here. Oh,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We're gonna start it right. All right.
You're starting right.
Starting off right. All right.
Boy, we got. I called him Mega Man Boy. What I call you, Mega Man?
Call me Mega Stan Boy, or a whole bunch of other stuff. But hey,
I
like
sent you that game.
well, that's the he sent me Rockman X6, and then on the envelope it was titled Mega Stan Boy as opposed to have my real name. I said, okay, I see what you did there. I like that.
That was hilarious.
But what's good with y'all though, man? We gonna get into it tonight.
We getting good. He said, "What's up, Mega Specker SG, man? It's really good, dude.
What's going on, GK?
What's up?
Got to have you here, brother.
Yeah, we talking about Xbox tonight. Now, tonight's episode, y'all, we're not like fussing or arguing, talking about which is better. We just talking about his news because if y'all saw about Phil Spencer dropped some, man, that was an emotional interview, man. He was like, oh my gosh, wow.
He's feeling it.
He's feeling it.
Yeah.
But also, I want to introduce you guys to a friend from over 20 years. This guy right here, Alex MD, Gamer MD. He goes by Alex Tyler on YouTube. Man, well, not on YouTube. Well, he probably on YouTube soon. He go on
Well,
Twitter.
it's mostly Twitter right now. Don't worry, a channel is inbound, but
See, the channel
we're
is
not quite
coming
there
up.
yet.
He's gonna be doing. But y'all, what's up, man? I've been friends with you for like 20 years. We used to do like midnight releases, like with GameStop, Xbox, Wii.
Oh
So
yeah.
many games. Oh my goodness. Walmart releases, 3DSs. I mean, DS, all kind of Wii U. I mean,
Bro,
so much stuff,
remember
man.
all the little DS carts and stuff that we used to do? Remember all the like clearance aisles we
Oh my
used to hit,
goodness,
all
we
the
used to
end
clear,
caps,
yes,
everything. Like me and you, there were days where we'd be like, hey, what are you doing today? Nothing. Okay, we're gonna go clear out everything. And we would go buy and trade and horse
Yes.
trade every single little thing. And it's like, yes, I'm my I love video games. I love all video games, but I also love Xbox. And I'm kind of messed up with this whole entire situation. And if you look, my buddy Grogu is looking up into space, going, "What is wrong with Xbox?"
Yeah, man, it's crazy. But we're gonna talk about it in just a minute. But guys, if you have any kind of questions, we are taking super chats. Like this one's like, buddy, what a $10 super chat. Thank you. Said, hey, bro, how you doing? And also too, I am going to mark these super chats tonight because if you leave a super chat tonight, we are going to bring you on and we're going to let you answer some questions or give your thoughts about this tonight. So, buddy, we'll be coming on later on, so make sure you stay in the chat so we can put you on tonight. We'll put the link in the description at the about 30-40 minutes when we talk about. But y'all, let's just talk about this. This is crazy. I love the Xbox platform, but it seems like since the Xbox One days, they've been like on a down trail, man. It's like they rule. And you see, I have a 360 sign right here. The 360, oh my goodness, 360 was such a great generation. Now, I don't know. Let's let our guest talk. Gamer, talk about this.
All
man.
right. All right, so a couple things. Let's go ahead and put out the positives first because there's a few of them, and I'm going to go ahead and label them all. Number one, the Xbox Series X as a console is a fantastic console. It really is. The backwards compatibility, being able to pull up your entire library of Xbox games, even some 360 and original Xbox games through the backwards compatibility program. All of the xCloud and the streaming, Xbox Game Pass, all of those things are great. But what are we missing? We are missing first-party titles that actually knock the balls out of the park, right?
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, Redfall. Now, before we go down that whole entire path, I just want to say, like, don't get it twisted. I love Xbox. I am furious that they are not in a more competitive place than they currently are. I'm a huge Gears of War fan. That's my number one IP. Maybe it ties with Diablo. Those two are my two, like,
nice.
100%. I will bend over backwards, get every collector's edition. And in terms of Gears of War and in terms of collecting, like we were talking about, I literally have more Gears swag than any human on the planet. This is true. Everything.
This is true.
I have everything. I have every statue. I have every, bust. I have every comic book. I have everything. And like even the weird, you remember when in Gears 2 they had the little cogs with the dog tag and they scattered them around the world? I've got 3 of them.
Look at that,
Mega. Lancer.
There you go, baby. Deputy Lancer. I got every single Lancer that was ever commercially released.
The battery's dead, but this thing
that's a beautiful Lancer too.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Love it. Love it.
That game, you know what? Speaking about Gears of War, that game literally like changed the game for a lot of first-person shooters. Well, I ain't say first-person
It
shooters,
was
third-person shooters. It just changed everything. Like when you first like saw somebody have and then you curb stomped them, that was like
that was the game that made me. That was the game that made me want a 360.
Blood splattered the screen when you did that.
Mm-hmm.
In the music, in the way they just ran, duck and cover.
And their commercials. Their commercials, like, bro. E3 2005 is the reason I got into, like, I decided to buy an Xbox 360.
Yep, same
I
here.
saw Cliff Bleszinski. He came up there. They showed us what Gears of War was, and my jaw hit the floor. I was like, that is insane. They redesigned the Xbox 360 specifically so it could run that game. They added the RAM needed to make that game run. And I'm like, what happened to that Xbox? Why don't we have that kind of commitment to gaming? Why don't we have that kind of passion for bringing us the cutting edge, best of the best, highest quality titles? And instead, we're getting stuff like Redfall. And then you get Phil Spencer coming out and saying, well, we probably should have gotten involved a little bit earlier. I'm like, bro, it's like when it comes to you making $1 billion, $7.5 billion acquisition of Bethesda, and you've got Arcane, you should have been in there day one talking to everybody from top to bottom, including housekeeping. You need to have everybody on deck so you know exactly what you just bought. Man. And for them to say, well, going forward, we should probably spend more time reviewing and intervening in the game structure and the game design. And I'm like, really? Like, you're just now coming to that conclusion? I don't run a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Yes, I'm a small business owner, but at the end of the day, I knew that. So how did you not know that? I don't run a multi-billion-dollar corporation. I mean, I'm just...
I know. You see, and that's why I wanted to bring you up, because, it's a lot of fans who feel like you, because, I mean, L after L after, I can understand like a stumble, or a misrelease, but this is like 4 months in a row been going on ever since like January, February, March, April, May. Before the beginning of the year. I mean, really, last year they hyped up everybody talking about this 12-month period of all this stuff coming out, and none of that stuff really just like hit like it's supposed to. Like I said, Starfield has to be a hit, because I don't want to see that man lose his job, but golly, I know that.
Well, and let me jump in here real quick. So you look at when Don Matrick was in charge of Xbox, and he came out with the trash, which was the Xbox One, and it was a TV. I'm like, bro, nobody cares about TV. We care about games. We don't buy these boxes for TV. We buy these boxes to play video games. And they had completely lost all common sense, right? When Peter Moore left Xbox, I was like, oh, it's not going to be that bad. Man, when that man left, everything started just crashing down. Don Matrick came and basically gutted Xbox. Now, to Phil Spencer's credit, he pulled it out of the abyss and prevented it from being a complete failure. Although it completely got its butt kicked last generation, at least they came out with the Xbox One X, right? At least that they started investing in studios. So he got the memo, but the execution has just not been where it needs to be, in my opinion.
Mega, what you think about this, man? And before you say that, also too, just popped in my mind when I saw that interview. He admitted that Xbox was in third place. I ain't never heard nobody admit they were in third.
Yeah,
That was crazy, right?
boy, yeah. Because what I was getting out of it, and granted, look, I know Philly, he's pretty much just had the world on his back the entire time, and then just taking Xbox from what the delusional state that it was, like in 2013 all the way until now. Hey, the man tried what I hope and assume was his best, but looks like his best wasn't enough, because for that man to essentially say, regardless if we just so-called quote unquote just make good games, just release that's not gonna be enough to just make us compete with our competitors. I'm like, well, how will you know if you don't try? I'm like, yeah, that's literally a defeatist mentality. So that blew my mind that he actually just openly said that. So it was crazy. We living in some scary times right now, especially you an Xbox fan.
Yeah, Ness.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here a little bit.
All right, go ahead.
So I'm thinking of this not as a gamer, so I'm gonna take my gamer hat off for a second, but I'm gonna think of this as someone who's running a business. Phil Spencer has, for the most part, been a very transparent executive with Xbox over numerous amounts of years, which is what the community needs, right? That's the plus side. The fact that he stayed and did that podcast with that team still, even after Redfall dropped, I don't want to give him 100% credit for the fact that he did that. I mean, as an executive who's running that, he has to show his face, and he has to answer questions for many numerous consumers out there, right? 360 was an amazing console. I think, in my personal opinion, it was probably one of the best Xbox consoles, if not the OG Xbox, because of the titles. But we have to state a couple of things. Redfall was a bad game. Xbox is currently trying to acquire many publishers right now. We already know the Activision Blizzard thing got blocked by the UK regulatory board right now. So, and they've got 9 out of 14 okays and agreements for this acquisition to happen, but they've been blocked. They've been working on this for a few years now. And the problem is that this happened, Redfall came in, and yeah, folks dropped the ball at Xbox in terms of going in and doing the due diligence of all the studios that they have acquired, what games they have, are they up to code, do they have the right technical capabilities to be able to be released to the consumer? Because what we just got with Redfall was Anthem. That's exactly what just happened.
Let me ask you this, man. I see a lot of people online saying that he threw Arcane Austin under the bus. Do you think so? Do you think he threw Arcane Studios under the bus?
No, he didn't.
I don't think he did.
No, he took responsibility, which he should have.
Yeah.
And I think as an executive leader at any company, you have to take fault in that, because yes, you may have individuals under you who are delegated to run that portion of the business and say, hey, I need you to go in and check all the data analytics behind, is this game up to par? And whoever mock playtesters they got, don't ever hire them again.
No, they lazy.
Them mock
playtesters. Yeah,
that was if not, that was a complete. Here's a conspiracy theorist hat coming on. That's a setup. That was a setup.
like here, one of our friends too, Justin now said, dude's tank has been running dry. He said it would be exhausting saying good games are coming for 3 years now.
True.
To keep dropping drops.
Yeah, like a decade. It's been a full-on decade that they've been telling us, hey, just wait one more year. Hey, just wait one more year. I'm like, bro, it's like, I've got kids going to college now. What do you mean wait one more year? You know what I'm saying? It's like, by the time this happens, my grandkids will finally have some games. And I'm like, I'm not trying to play that.
They gonna keep saying one more year. You ain't gonna be around next year. Like
exactly. I'm like, bro, it's like, what, I mean, and look, the whole entire thing about, so one of the things that Sony does is like the way that they cross-link their studios for support. So like, when The Last of Us is being made, some of the internal studios at Sony will help make the game. And that's why when you play a PlayStation game, you feel like it's similar to the vibe that Sony has created in other genres, right? There's like, there's a certain quality, there's a certain aroma, there's a certain whatever. And I use that aroma phrase from my buddy, Jay Bari, from his podcast. But it's like, at the end of the day, like there's something about PlayStation games that it's a PlayStation game, right?
Right.
Microsoft also has an internal system, but it's nowhere near as robust. And one of the things that basically Phil Spencer came and said was, well, they were, developing the game, and then towards the very end, we brought the Coalition in, and we brought Rare in, and then we have our own internal engineering team, and they kind of like dabbled a little bit. And I'm like, bro, it's like those people should have been brought on board the second that the ink was dry on the contract for the purchase. And you should have had a full, basically sit down with the entire team. Where are you guys? What difficulties are you having? How do we make this go away and come out on time? And then, put the resources and energy into it. And he goes on to say, it's like, well, Starfield was in a better spot than was earlier in development. Therefore, we were able to kind of come on board and do all the stuff a little bit sooner. And I'm like, y'all should be the tip of the spear. You can't just be like, I bought $7.5 billion of Bethesda Studio, but I'm going to let these dudes just kind of do it the way they want to. Nah, fam, it's your baby, right? You should be thinking about these companies and these acquisitions like Big Worm from Friday. Playing with my money is like playing with my emotions, right? That's what you need.
We got a Friday reference on this show.
Hey,
no, but you got to have a Herman Hulst that comes in there and holds people's feet to the fire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Go ahead.
And they brought up Halo in that podcast also.
Oh, yeah,
so
they did.
The sole purpose, the whole for me getting into Xbox was solely for Halo. And generally, the reason my purchase of Xbox consoles was for Halo. I didn't play 4, not really. 5, I skipped.
Everybody
and
did.
Infinite, I was extremely happy for because it gets more open world. And the campaign's going to be more immersive. You're going to have all this. And of course, you've got a great multiplayer. The multiplayer was great when they dropped it. And everybody was just kind of waiting for the campaign to drop and the story and then the additional things. And the studio 343, they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball. Yeah. So there is a constant message that keeps happening at Xbox to us. Hey, we're going to get there. Just hang on. We're going to get there. Like, no, the time is now because your competitors are doing a fabulous job. Let's go with Nintendo. Let's do this. Nintendo, let's remove Mario. Let's remove Zelda.
Okay.
Let's remove Metroid. Okay. Let's remove Pokemon. That's their 4 best titles.
And they just brought back Kirby.
And they just brought back Kirby. 5. And everyone knows them because they're a household name. Let's go to Sony. We can go down the list with Sony. Final Fantasy. Oh my God.
God of War.
Metal Gear Solid. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. What do we have with Xbox? We've got
Horizon.
Who? What?
You got the tried and true that people always keep spitting online. Halo, Gears, and Forza. You got those,
and they are good.
And no one's doing.
Those are good, but
they are good. But the masses are not driving race cars for 24 hours straight. No, they're not playing those games for 24 hours.
Do you think Xbox forgot about the gamers and just worrying about more corporate and greed and trying to buy up all these companies and like, oh, we need to go to the cloud, we need to push Xbox Game Pass as a future, and then forgetting about all of the stuff that's going on? Because see, look, PlayStation, they tried to make PlayStation play that game, and as bad as Jim Ryan, we don't like that Joker. He didn't bluff. He really didn't bluff about like putting out main titles on like the PlayStation 4 server or the PlayStation server, PlayStation Online, whatever that thing is. Which it's okay, but it's not as good. They're not going to do that. They're not going to put God of War Ragnarok Day 1 on that PS4 online program. They're not going to do that like they did with Halo 5, what they did with Gears 5, what they doing with Redfall, what they did with Battletoads, all that kind of stuff. They're not doing that. And then, yes, on our wallet, it is great. But, I mean, if you think about it long term.
Look, you want me to give you an example? Look. Listen. You know what Game Pass is?
Crackdown 3 poo.
That is garbage. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Game
was.
Pass is. I love Game Pass, right? But it has not achieved its potential. So I'm gonna say two things, right? One of the things that Phil Spencer admitted to in that interview was that they were in third place. This whole entire Game Pass initiative and going into cloud gaming and everything is because they basically said they cannot out-console either Sony or Nintendo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what they're doing is they're trying to create a new market. And that is why Microsoft actually approached both Sony and Nintendo and said, hey, let us put Game Pass on your systems. I guarantee you that if Sony and Nintendo had said, yes, you can put Game Pass on our systems, we probably would never see another physical Xbox.
Oh, no.
Right?
Sure,
because at that point, because what does Microsoft actually do, right? Microsoft sells services. You have the Azure cloud services. You have the operating systems, and kind of all the Windows services like Office and things like that. Those are where they make their money. Xbox is kind of like this little stumpy, malformed little tree in the back that doesn't get enough sunlight, and that's why. I mean, it just doesn't produce the kind of cash flow that those other divisions do. And it's obvious that Microsoft's forte is not in gaming. Their forte is in what? Services having to do with productivity and building cloud backbones and stuff like that. And Satya Nadella, who's the president of Microsoft, that's his background is cloud. That is his entire background. That's what his specialty is. So guess what? They put the Xbox on the cloud because that's something that he understands and that's what he wants to do. You don't need a console for that. I mean, it's like, look at all the different ways that you can have access to Microsoft Office, right? They're doing the exact same thing for gaming. Now, the problem is, the promise was that we're going to get these amazing first-party games, day and date. They're going to be landing on this service. By the service, you're getting all these AAA, hardcore, amazing games. But then they started dropping the ball on the games. Look at what, and there's people who are going to defend Halo. I understand that the multiplayer is not bad, fair enough. But they, in my opinion, they came up short on the campaign.
Oh, yeah.
What they wanted to do versus what they did are two totally different things. What Game Pass has turned into is now it's sort of like the Golden Corral of buffets. You go in there with some substandard, not everything is great. Yes, you might find the carved, prime rib station, but it's right next to the cottage cheese and it's right next to the, 2-day-old mac and cheese. Nobody wants any of the other stuff. All that stuff is kind of filler. The volume of high quality stuff in there is low. And that's a problem. The other problem is you got people like me who's a collector, right? When it comes up to it, I like having a physical copy of a game. I like having a physical presence of the game. So if you came and you said, hey, guess what? I'm going to give you a limited edition Xbox Series X for Starfield. I will be first in line and I'll buy 2 of them, right? You do the same thing for Diablo. They have
Diablo. Diablo.
That Diablo is a pack-in. It's a pack-in, but it's not. They didn't. I mean, just even if they had just done a crimson red Xbox Series X, I would have picked it up.
I would have
because it would have looked sick as hell.
The Infinite console was.
Yeah, that was like the last time they did a limited edition, right? Was it Infinite?
I couldn't even
Infinite
get one.
Was it? And I got 2 of them.
I'll say this: Xbox is targeting an audience that just isn't there yet. The gaming community hasn't grown to an extent to be able to just absorb nothing but cloud-based technology and services. We just haven't gotten there yet. I mean, hell, even your everyday businesses are still trying to shift to the cloud off of prem, right? So if we're talking about someone that's trying to secure their environment and all that, they're still using hardware. Yeah. So if those individuals haven't made the shift, and gamers like us who like collecting physical haven't made the shift, it's going to be really hard for us as gamers to adopt just having a cloud-based solution to play our games moving forward. So I would like to think that that Xbox is thinking 5-10 years ahead in the future. That's great and all, but the primary focus to keep the business flow going, to keep the cash flow going, to keep the consumer happy is bring out some damn good ass games. Put out some good solid games. And we don't need just one banger for the year. We need 6, 7, because your competitors are throwing out 10, 15. Give us 4 or 5.
That was my argument earlier today. I was on in it with some people on Twitter, and Twitter is kind of we affectionately call it the Twitter gaming streets, and it's the crumb side of gaming, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's
That it is.
definitely, and it's like we're in the spaces, and it's like just the conversations, and there's a whole bunch of drama and toxicity and everything else going on out there, right? So I mean, it just is what it is. But at the same time, you get a very raw and visceral kind of first take on the news that's come out, right? Like as soon as something drops, I mean, literally seconds later, there's 3,000 people on Twitter talking about it. So I love Twitter, right? Like I think it's a cool place to be. But at the end of the day, it's like, Microsoft, their promise to us was that they would have games that are released. We were supposed to have Starfield, and we were supposed to have Redfall, and we were supposed to have that in the first 6 months of the year. Now we did get Redfall, but Starfield got pushed, right? Okay, all right, fair enough. But then there's immediately after this whole Redfall thing, like the same day, they're like, oh yeah, we've got like this, amazing thing for you to look at. It's on June the 12th. Please come and watch the show. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, are you out of your goddamn minds? You want me to come and listen to another showcase where you come and tell me, hey, these are the games that are coming out in 12 months. Bro, why should I even bother? Why should I even buy into what you're having to say? Because you have lied incessantly. You have not told me the truth a single time. You apologize like a SOB. You're always out there and be like, golly, guys, I'm really sorry. I apologize. I'll buff your shoes. I'll carry your books. I'm like, I don't give a damn. We are past all that. It's either put up or shut up and GTFO. I am not trying to sit there and let you spend another entire console generation blowing smoke up my dress. It's not going to happen. This is it. 2023, knock my socks off, or you're no longer going to be a console that I'm going to invest in the same way I've done in the past.
The fact that they have so many publishers at this point,
Yeah.
a lot of banger ass publishers, and still no games is mind-boggling to me.
It's crazy because we want games. That's all we ask. We want
Facts.
It feels so like disappointing when I boot up. I had an Xbox Series X. I let it go. I let my ex have it. I mean, I don't play it, but I have the Series 1X. I still like it for Game Pass, but I still feel a certain type of way when what am I gonna play? A whole bunch of old stuff? Okay, I mean, cool. Yeah, I got a wall of stuff. I mean, I want something. I want that Xbox experience. I have not had the Xbox experience since Halo 2. Well, I think since Halo 2. I should say Halo 2 and Gears of War. And Gears of War 2 was, oh my god.
Oh, Gears of War 2 was
Gears of War. Especially 3. Oh man, 3.
Look. So here's the deal, right? Like Gears. I mean, let me go back to the OG Xbox. When the OG Xbox hit,
oh my goodness,
and Halo dropped.
Halo was
and people were taking their consoles to their friends' houses. They were lugging those big ass CRT TVs. They were plopping them down. Four-player
LAN parties. Yeah,
absolutely.
That was the move.
We were rocking out until 6 a.m. with that stuff.
With Mountain Dew
right?
and little single pieces.
And
Doritos.
Hey, and at the end of the day, it's like Microsoft gave us a lot of stuff. I don't take my criticisms as hate. I have zero hate. It's just I'm tired. I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of the broken promises.
Man. I'm frustrated too. I'm frustrated as a gamer because we all see the potential that Xbox can bring. And yeah, I joke about people saying like, being Xbox stands. No, but seriously, we see the potential. Like in every super fan, there's that like, man, come on, I'm rooting for you. I'm putting all this money in here. It's like how much money I put in my Apple devices. Do you think if Apple doing what Xbox did? First of all, that probably would never happen because they're crazy. But I mean, and this is an American company. When I went over to Japan, y'all, look, this is how many Xbox games I brought back with me. Look at this. 360 games. And one Xbox game or two Xbox games because they didn't come out over here. But Jordan went, and then Jordan, and then this game right here, whatever this by Atlas, this racing game. But to see the representation of the Xbox platform in Japan was sad. As an American, I was like, wow. You see walls of PlayStation 2, walls of PlayStation 4, walls of Nintendo Switch, Wii U. The Wii U had a bigger section than the Xbox.
Bro,
They said we
Listen,
don't want that American crap over here. That's what they said. They said
instead
y'all
of
should do
buying
subspace.
instead of buying Activision Blizzard, go put $35 billion down in Japan, build a publishing arm of Microsoft there, and start developing internal studios that are strictly Japanese, with the focus being on Japanese gamers, and then bring them back over to the United States,
There
right?
you go.
Y'all let
Because it's like, that is, and I mean, bro, it's like I saw a mock-up of the Xbox Series S where it was like the Land of the Rising Sun, where the little speaker cover thing was red and it had the red beams coming out, like the old school Japanese flag. And it's like, I'm like, dude, do some stuff that gets people from the country actually like paying attention to what you are doing and proving to them that you care about their culture, you care about the types of games that they care about. Because there's plenty of people in the United States that will also play those games, but you know, you got to have a Japanese focus. And it's like, you know, Sarah Bond comes out there and says, yeah, we've got like, you know, umpteen million, you know, games in development in Japan, and we're supporting all these indie studios and stuff in Japan. I'm like, really? Prove it. Show me something. Show me some gameplay. Oh, well, you know, we're not ready for that. I'm like, then what are you doing? Like, you're supposed to be accelerating these people, right? All these indie studios, all these smaller studios, you're supposed to be accelerating them so that they can get to product faster. All you're telling us is, man, we're doing some awesome stuff, but you'll have to wait till next year.
Hey, well, hold on, y'all. Hey, thank you, Alex. See, I told y'all we're gonna be passionate. Like, Alex is a really good like representation of a smart Xbox fan. He's not. I always say he's not a Cowboy X fan, but that's stop. But anyway, y'all, I want to introduce y'all to one of my other friends. We always go back and forth. I'm gonna see him next week at Corks. We both gonna be there, and my buddy, he's a Fruity Pebble. What's up?
Wait a second. No. You're the Fruity Pebble. You're the king Fruity. Hey, they all saw you on Instagram. You put your crown on and everything. On that one. You are the king Fruity Pebble.
What is up, dude? How you doing?
All right, man. I'm just enjoying the conversation, but I gotta say you were a little late today, so I was like sitting there like,
okay,
like come on, man.
Okay,
let's
so
go.
Hello, that was on me. And I guess it was a little bit.
Well, I know it was on you. I wouldn't have done anything else.
Blame it on alcohol.
I knew it was on you.
I forgot to hit the publish button. I thought we was on. I had
hey man, we were keeping with the theme of Xbox. Everything is delayed, so good job.
So Steve's not a PlayStation fan. We're finding out secretly he's been an Xbox fan all this time. So
hey, I'm a fan.
He's been following suit.
Yeah, I know, right? I like, you see this big 360 sign on my wall. I love every game, but you know, it's crazy. But Steve, talk to us, man. What do you want to say about this conversation? Because you just started to get back into gaming, but you've been a gamer for a while. You've been broadcasting great stuff a long time. Also, me and Steve been doing still like 10 years ago. He kind of got me started doing this type of content, like being on live. And we was doing like photography and was talking about tech a long time ago. You still can find them old videos and they probably horrible, but
back when your hair was only like this high.
I know, right? It was right here. Seriously, yeah, it was like right here. I promise you it was. Like, you can see my hair, but what do you think about this Xbox stuff going on, man?
Well, I think it's a great conversation right now because I have the Xbox Series X sitting here. Like, I have all the major new consoles because I collect all of them, like what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I just had to blow like an inch of dust off my Xbox because like I only listen. I only play the PlayStation. Like, I hate to say it, but it's like, and then after today's announcement, I was just like sitting there going, is this going to be the Turbo Graphics in 20 years where like everybody's going to be scrambling to collect this thing because everybody's selling it?
Wow.
So I'm only holding on to it because of that. I think this is going to be something. I think if you sell it, you might regret it 20 years from now.
Wow.
This probably be a good time to start collecting games. Like I was saying earlier, I only have in my collection 3 physical Xbox One games. And what you said about the Turbo Graphics is being a collector, that hits the nail on the head. I mean,
I got 8.
You got 8.
I got 8, but I have about 40 PS5 games.
They won't appreciate it until it's gone.
Yeah,
that is true.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm kind of getting the Dreamcast vibes. You know what I'm saying? There's a little bit of Dreamcast.
Panasonic 3DO. I mean, I'm just saying, like, this, it has all the writing on the wall, man.
And it's such a powerful console. It does such good. It's like, why are you not like?
Well, hold up a second. Pause. Pause. Okay, so hold up a second. Hold up. Oh, skirt. 12 teraflops of power, and we have yet to see any of it. I mean, show me a game on the Xbox Series X that will make your jaw drop. And if you say Gears of War 5, I'm going to shank you because it's technically an Xbox One. It's an Xbox One game, and they were able to do that with the Xbox One X, right?
So
that game absolutely was stunning. I don't necessarily like the story. I don't like the direction that the stories have gone and things like that per se. But from a technical standpoint, it was an immaculately well done game. The graphics were top notch. Play control eventually became good because they kept dicking around with the multiplayer. I can't even remember the guy's name, but I want to punch him in his jowls. I mean, that dude just absolutely drives me nuts.
Violent.
Like, yeah, man, it's like, the pellet spread on the Nasher, and I'm just like, I'm going to choke you out, bro, because it's like you're fucking with perfection. Please stop. It's like you don't have to fix the stuff too much. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, you look at what has been released and tell me something that just absolutely blew your socks off versus what you see on PlayStation 5. Yeah. Tell me a game on PlayStation 5 that blew your socks off, and you could probably come up with 2 or 3 of them at least.
Probably on 5, 10, probably. Just graphically.
I mean, I love the Kernel.
Same with the Switch and stuff, man. It just.
I think certain games, and tell me if you guys agree, but I think certain games on the Xbox Series X are smoother. Like, I don't know if it's just the way that they render, but like, there's certain games that, like, when you're doing third-party shooting games and stuff, it feels like you can move with the gun. It moves so much smoother. Where I don't feel like it's like that on the PS5. So on the same game. Are you
looking at the same games I'm looking at? Like, I mean, have you, like, Digital Foundry and their analysis?
I would say like the third-party games. If you release one on PS5 and one on Xbox Series X, the Series X used to be the better copy of the game. Nowadays, it seems like I don't know what's going on. It seems I keep saying this, but ever since freaking COVID, all this quality has been going down. I understand how COVID was bad. I understand it did a lot to people, but stop using COVID as an excuse for not producing the shit that you're supposed to be doing. Excuse me, but stop doing that. It's like, where's the freaking quality? Where are the games? Like, back in the day, where's the beef? Where's the freaking games? Like, I want my games. I want something good, but we're not getting it. We're not getting it.
$70 is a lot of money to invest these days.
Yeah, it is.
It's hard times out here for a lot of folks now. Yeah, $70 is a lot to invest.
$70 is what? Food?
Yes,
gas. I mean, shoot, they can put up something on a light bill a little bit. Yeah. The light bill, and it's about to be summer, so $70 going to be going to a light bill, air conditioning, and stuff like that.
My one example I would give is play Far Cry 6. Play that on PS5, and then go to Xbox Series X. The movements are smoother on the Xbox Series X.
It is.
And I don't know what they did differently, but that's out of all the games that I have right now, that's probably the one that I've noticed it the most with. Like, you get Fortnite or even some of these other ones, Call of Duty, they're pretty similar. Yeah. But Far Cry is where I really noticed it, and I was like, what are they doing? Like, why is it smooth like that?
It just, I guess it's hard to, it's because Xbox is basically a PC. So basically, it's PC based,
Yeah, but I'm not a PC gamer. Both of them are PC based, right? Both of them are PC based.
I would say Xbox is more. I would say Xbox is more, but like, I got a Steam Deck just because of Xbox, because I wanted to play that. I never was a PC gamer, but Xbox kind of like put my toe in the water to see, this is how PC game can be to another level. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm like that one consumer. I want everything in that one box. I want to plug it to TV and want to go. But it seems like they're trying to force us to change when the change is not ready. Like, it's like they are repeating their failures. Like when the Xbox One came out, had to do all the TV bull crap and all that stuff. Nobody's ready. I ain't say nobody's ready, but people don't want to move the S Cloud and all this kind of stuff. Like, we always laugh when we see on Switch Resident Evil Cloud Edition. Nobody want to play that. Nobody want to play no Xbox, no Cloud Edition in no game.
Resident Evil the Poor Man Edition.
Yeah.
Like demons.
Nobody want to play that
And
crap.
you know what?
Still
You know,
be $50.
it's a very appropriate.
$50.
It's a very appropriate name, Cloud Edition, because you're gonna be dreaming that you will be playing on a real system. So that's a very appropriate
Right,
name for
right.
it.
I mean, back in the day, we used to argue that Xbox had the best online experience, but you can't say that anymore.
You
You
can't.
can't say that anymore.
Oh,
Yeah,
that used to be the one saving grace.
Yeah, back in the day,
Sony used to be the worst because they always you always got a notification every other month that said, "Hey, your credit card information was compromised."
Oh, and got them free. I still got them free games too.
Always
Right?
gets
Well, yeah,
$50
that's what I'm
back
saying. Like
in the
back in the, I heard one of you guys said about the 360. It was one of the best consoles that they had brought out.
It was.
Yeah, retro. Yeah,
It was.
and I 100% agree with you. And that was really the era that I fell in love with the Xbox. You know, most of my physical games, I probably got like 450 Xbox 360 games in the other room, and nobody could touch their online experience.
None.
Yep.
So like, where do we go from here? Like,
Even Street Fighter, like Street Fighter 4 was the best version of Street Fighter 4 between
agreed.
360 and
On the
PS3 was on the
Oh, yeah.
360.
agreed.
But you know what? Hey, now they moved to the PlayStation 4, so I'm trying to say, I'm a Street Fighter guy. It's pretty good on the
Well,
PlayStation.
you know what? You know what? I would play Street Fighter on Xbox, but the controller just isn't proper for Street Fighter. Like
Not
I
for
prefer
fighting
PlayStation
games. Yeah,
for fighting
yeah.
games.
You
I
have to
prefer a
get a
PlayStation controller, or I'm gonna just get a fight pad or call it.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah,
get a dedicated
pad.
fight stick when it comes to like fighting games or any platform. Honestly,
Yeah, you're gonna get
Yeah.
a fight thing. But you know what? When was it the Capcom Cup? They were running Xbox Series X's and they were running a PC for a Street Fighter 6. And I looked like, is that an Xbox? I said, oh,
How was
shit.
it?
Man, it was butter. It was butter.
Mm.
It was
I-
good.
I-
You
I
had,
like
you
it.
had
Good.
like
I will hope
Between
so.
okay, I know it's marginal details here. We're trying to. It's
Yeah,
really minuscule in terms of
I
differences.
couldn't tell the difference between PC and Xbox because one day I played on the Xbox and one day side was Xbox, one day was a PC. I couldn't tell the difference. It was really, and it was just this the beta. It was good. Street Fighter 6 is going to play tremendous on the Xbox One. It's
Well,
going to
unless you play Castlevania, then you can see there's a difference. It was crappy on PC, but
Which one Castlevania?
Oh,
Castlevania.
Lord of Shadow.
Oh, it was just bad.
Oh
Yeah, they called it all different things on the PC, but it was still bad.
Oh,
It
no,
was
but
it was
it
the
played.
worst.
Hey, it did good, but
It was good on the consoles, but yeah, your point, 100%. Like it was to the point where the games pretty much were the same as they were on the PC. But then somewhere, I don't even know, man. Like I'm not trying to stick up for Sony either because Sony still they haven't exceeded my expectation. If you got a PS4,
you don't
you really need to upgrade. I mean,
Yep.
some of the graphics are different in some of the games,
don't.
but that's debatable, right? I think we could all say that it's debatable.
4K and
PS4
TV, and you're good.
Hey, the
Yep.
PS4
if before K, but I'm saying like, I think they're gonna end up stretching this out. I think we're gonna go 10 years
yeah.
before they get another console because the 2 years they lost in COVID, and that's gonna be Steve. You said it. That's the excuse they're gonna throw at you. They're gonna say, "Well, we lost 2 years in COVID."
The PS4 Pro
Yeah,
is
but, I
probably
mean,
one of
really,
the
it's
best
like-
systems to have right now. I mean, I just picked up a PS4 Pro, to TV and looked at it between that and the PS5. It's sellable differences. I mean, right now, the PS5 could have released this like November and been like had a hell of a lineup, but it is what it is. Okay, cool. But you don't need when people get a PS5, they're like, I really didn't need it. I wanted it. And you really don't see nothing really super different right now. It's going to be another 2 or 3 years before, Ragnarok, I ain't gonna say it looks the same on a Pro 4 and a 5. You can see little small differences. Yes, you can see like graphical bumps. But anything that's like, it's going to be ugly.
Do you know where the big difference though is that I see?
What?
In the VR2.
See, I haven't played the VR2, so I can't talk to that.
I get motion.
VR2 yet?
I don't have one,
Yeah.
but they think they're selling the stores though, so they're desperate to sell those.
Yeah, I think you can pre-order it now for Amazon and GameStop, so it is available. To pick up.
The VR2, I have it. I have it here. Horizon, I was totally sucked in by it. And what's Xbox doing? Nothing to combat that, right? And Meta to me is still the best VR out there right now. I think because I don't even get motion sickness. I'll get it with the PS VR2. After playing about a half an hour, I start getting like really queasy. But yeah,
I mean, and there's no like, I mean, the Horizon game is a good game, but they need to have a better influx of like AAA games. I mean,
they should have had like Alex. They should have.
They should have had. Well, it's coming. It's definitely Half-Life Alex is coming. Games like Beat Saber are coming. I mean, they've all been signed up, right? And there was like 30 plus games at launch for the PSVR 2. So a lot of them are PC ports. A lot of them,
but what's
are available on
Xbox
other
doing
systems.
To go head to head with this?
Xbox can't even get their own like games.
That's what I'm
on
saying.
Their system.
Like,
don't try to be like, oh, by the way, y'all need to do something else. Hell no, y'all need to focus. Look, they about to go to summer school.
But that's what I'm saying.
Look,
like,
Xbox
they can't
is
even
about to go to summer school. They're going remedial on this shit.
Man. They can't get it together, and then like PS, they keep going into the AI, they keep going into virtual reality, and Xbox is still sitting there like, hey, we can't even put out games.
Nintendo is just over here chilling. Like,
maybe that Chat GPT and putting all the AI, maybe they can actually use that to make their games better. Like, be like, bro, we're so lazy, we can't do this game right. Can you please fix it? And all of a sudden, boom, it just spits out the code and be like, this is how you should be doing it.
Oh man,
you know what? Don't get nobody no ideas.
I would say that would be great for those Twitter warriors who actually don't spend their time playing games all day. They actually spend their time just going back and forth the arguments and starting Twitter spaces like 4:00 in the morning. And stuff.
Oh my gosh!
Like that if they can build a bot that can actually play the game for themselves, just so they can have bragging rights. Hey, there you go. That's the experience right there for them.
Right. Let me ask you guys. It's like, people are like, oh, Phil Spencer was so brave for coming out. I'm like, bro, how about you don't come in front of the camera? You just go and fix some shit behind the scenes and then blow my socks off. Because that's what Jim Ryan does.
UI,
Jim Ryan's not on social media talking to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that's got a podcast on YouTube. He's going down and it's like he's knocking down deals. He's making sure games are getting released. He's doing all the stuff that a true CEO should be doing. Phil Spencer is all sitting there like playing kumbaya with the masses. And I'm like, bro, you're just covered in ball fleas at this point. Nobody cares. Go fucking make me a game.
This is why I brought Alex on.
Man,
I love the passion. I love the passion in his voice. I love it.
So what he's saying is he's doing what Steve Ballmer used to do for Microsoft. He runs around, gets all sweaty on the stage, and yelling, "Developers."
That's what he
is. He still in Microsoft?
No.
I think he left. I think he left.
Yeah, he's got a nuclear submarine and some other shit that he's got at the house. So I'm just like, I think he's done for what's up. Honestly though, I'm gonna give a shout out to somebody at Xbox, and Sarah Bond is quality. Right. Yes. Not only is she absolutely just a stunning human being, but like she comes from a different like business area, like through Pepsi and like all this other stuff. What we really need to do is that we need to shake everything up. They got rid of Bonnie Ross. I want to see Matt Booty gone. I want to see Jason Ronald gone. I want to see all the different little people gone. I want new people in these key positions, people who have passion and vision, and somebody who can be like, you know what, bring me a unique piece of silicon and on top of that, bring the games that can only be run on that machine. Prove to me why I need an Xbox Series X. Right? Because at the end of the day, I can play every single Xbox game for the most part on PC. What do I need an Xbox for?
This woman right here.
Yep.
Boy. She needs to be the next Xbox. Now, even though she's fine as all get out. Hey, she fine as all get out. But the woman is smart, intelligent, funny. She loves games. This woman right here, let me tell you.
There comes a time in business where, there's people lose the pathway, with the cartridge era, and when we first made the moves to CD-based games, I think that was the most richest area for gaming out of any generation, just because we had gamers creating games. I think now, because we've gotten so interlocked with these corporations owning all this shit, and they've got other stuff going on, and it just becomes a segment of their business, which it is for Microsoft. This is a segment of their business.
Yep.
I think gaming nowadays has become more about less being about coming from a creative place of passion, more so than it is now of what's the next money grab that we can get. What's the quickest way and most inefficient, or what's the quickest and most efficient way we can release a title and just keep eating off of that for 10 plus years. Rockstar did it. They are still literally having full course meals to this day right now.
Grand Theft Auto
from Grand Theft Auto 5, exactly.
You know what I see?
What's that?
I see it like Hollywood. They put out the same type of movie over and over again, and they're afraid to put out something new because they're afraid it's going to be a box office bomb.
Like
they already got a lot of bombs, so they can't. They might as well try.
Why do you think a lot of the top selling games, for the most part, are always sequels? It's because that's a lot of familiarity. That's a lot of stuff that people are familiar with. Every single of the MPDs you see each month, it's always the top 5. It's always either some Call of Duty, FIFA, what else, like NBA, stuff like that. It's always the titles that people just know and love throughout the years. So that's why whenever you see that's an influx of like even the newer games, like with Redfall, like people don't really take the titles like that because they have more to prove, because it's just like a new title that has a lot just to do for itself. And just gaming, it's in a perpetual cycle of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah. But at the same time, we want new experiences. But once you do give whole new experiences, like, all right, well, that didn't gain X amount of billions for us, so now we need to go back. It didn't make it like it made 50, like it made about 5 billion. We wanted to reach about 30 billion. You know, we cut like we halfway reached that mark. We still made it profitable, but we didn't make enough money off it. So it's back to the drawing board.
There's only one Nintendo.
Yeah, facts. There's only one Nintendo, and look, you know how this whole entire thing, like everybody wanted to do games as a service. They're like, Fortnite, we're all gonna make our own Fortnite, and I'm like, hold the heck up! You guys do not have the talent, foresight, insight, or just plain vision to come up with a Fortnite. That game, when it first came, so a buddy of mine worked at Epic. I actually got to go to Epic twice. I was there for Gears 2. I was there for Gears 3. I was there when they were doing the Gears. Oh, I can't even remember the name. It's so bad. Judgment. So it's like, you know, because People Can Fly. Because People Can Fly was bought by them, and they subcontracted it out. Anyway, long story short, we went out there, and it's like, what's your next game? They're like, what's a game called Fortnite? I'm like, what is it? It's like, well, it's a tower defense game, and we're going to be doing this. And I looked at it and was like, ugh. And then they were kind of like, yeah, we kind of feel the same way. We're still tweaking it. And so eventually they got through and they created what they created. And then they started doing seasons. And then people just, I mean, like every kid, like from 10 to 18 was just magnetically glued to that. It was a once in a lifetime franchise in terms of a games as a service. Absolutely just demolished every record that you could imagine. And they gave the game away for free, and they made billions of dollars per quarter selling outfits, basically microtransactions in the sense of like people getting like outfits. And to this day, that is still printing money. They will never not be a Fortnite. But when you try to create your own Fortnite, you can't trap lightning in a bottle twice. This is a once in a generation game. You cannot copy it. It was the right circumstances at the right time, at the right cadence of releases and everything else. And in anybody trying to emulate that has failed miserably. There has not been, like, look at what was that game that Microsoft released that was supposed to be like the next, you know, whatever games as a service game, blood something.
Oh, you're talking about Bleeding Edge?
Bleeding Edge,
is that what you're talking about?
I can't even remember the name of the game. That's how bad it was, right? And it's like, that's my whole entire point. They're like, well, we're going to have, like, you know, these arena, you know, some kind of, I don't know what this is, but it's going to be a game. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not capable. You're not technically capable. You're not creatively capable of creating or emulating or improving upon the recipe. And quite frankly, other than Apex Legends, is there anything else out there that's a real great games as a service? Now, technically, I would say Call of Duty falls kind of into the games as a service kind of model to some extent, although it's not 100%. Like, they have their own kind of thing. But it's like, at the end of the day, you're sitting there and you're like, what is going on? Like, I mean, instead of wasting your time, look for smaller AA studios that are producing quality content now. Pick them up, nurture them, and let them have some creativity with deadlines, with budgets, right? And force them to kind of do what they need to do. What's the name of the studio that was supposed to be the quadruple A studio that Microsoft was doing?
They were building internally, or they acquired them? Internally.
No, internally. What was it called?
I don't remember that. I just know that.
They have a bunch that.
No, but the initiative, right? Where it was like they took some of the world.
Was it called?
Yeah.
Initiative? I think it was called Initiative then. I heard
the
that.
initiative.
Yeah.
So
was
they
it the initiative or was it coalition?
Yeah, I was thinking it was like
no. Coalition is Gears. Coalition is Gears,
Okay,
and
Coalition.
they
Yes, okay.
took half of the
Initiative.
original Gears people with them on that. Rod Ferguson actually left Epic to go and head that whole entire thing before he left to go over to Blizzard and take over Diablo 4. But the bottom line is this: it's like they created this whole entire new studio. It's supposed to be quadruple A talent. The way they put it's going to be creating our first quadruple A game. They have released nothing. They have done nothing. Half of the people that work there left. That's a huge red flag, because basically your philosophy of we're going to give you infinite money and infinite resources, and you decide what you're going to do with the game, turned to absolute vaporware. There is nothing. And so it's like you need to, like I said earlier, be like Big Worm and put that focus in on, hey, I'm going to give you some freedom, but you got to do what I told you you're going to do. Otherwise, I'm going to kill you and him. You know what I'm saying? Like that's you have to have that balance. And it's like Phil Spencer is just now coming out. He's just now coming out saying, well, I think we're going to have some more oversight. Are you friggin' kidding me? Multi-billion-dollar corporation. You're the head of an entire multi-billion-dollar division, and you just now came to that conclusion? Bro, why doesn't Microsoft hire me? I would do a better job in terms of being able to hold people's feet to the fire. I promise you, give me 1 year. Give me 1 year.
A lot of layoffs, y'all.
I was gonna say they can't bring you on because they just laid off 10% of their workforce.
Well,
They don't even value those people.
Bro, one of the other things that they do too. So when you have the way that their structure is set up, you have some key players that are, in permanent like W-2 positions, right? Then what they end up doing is they hire tons and tons of contract work. They're 1099s. They have an 18-month contract. You're in, you're out, right? Well, that works beautifully when you're talking about Excel. That works fantastically when you're talking about PowerPoint. That works horribly when you're talking about Halo, right? They literally would have people that would come to work on the project right when they start getting familiar with everything and are invested in it. Your contract's up and we're not renewing you. We're going to hire somebody else to kind of take your spot. Well, now they have to go back 2 steps before they can take one forward just to be able to catch up. And the fact that they use all this legacy code and like stuff from the old Halos and look at our Slipstream engine. I'm like, bro, you're trash at making an engine. You don't know what the hell you're doing. Take something off the shelf. Bro, you just bought Bethesda. Why don't you use id Software, right?
They've got
an
amazing engine.
Let's be honest.
No, they just bought Bethesda. They got Activision.
Let's be honest. Halo hasn't been good since Bungie had it. I'm just going to say that.
That's
right
true.
now.
Bungie walked away. They wanted to do Destiny. And Microsoft said, no, we're going to shoot that down. We don't like Destiny.
Originally, and this is like a hidden little gem for those of you that don't know, originally, Halo was supposed to become Destiny.
Oh, yeah,
the Spartans were the Guardians. Mm-hmm. The Spartans were supposed to be the future. The future Spartans became the Guardians, and all this stuff happens. They even have Easter eggs of Destiny in Halo 3.
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
There's even Easter eggs in Destiny 1 of Halo 3 of Master Chief in the first couple of missions. Like, Microsoft dropped the bag there. And I'm going to bring this up, and I brought this up on many different podcasts at this point. They for sure dropped the bag with not holding on to Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. And PlayStation got that joint?
Yep.
What? Of all the
That game ain't doing good so far, but
and no, and what did they do? They dropped the bag on it. I think that was
you know what's jacked up.
Disney.
So, do you guys remember when Phil Spencer was sitting next to the studio head for Bungie? They were playing Destiny on the Xbox Series X. Destiny had just been put on the Game Pass. Everybody was looking like, "Oh, you guys are about to buy Bungie. Bungie's about to come back to Xbox." I guarantee the conversation happened. Microsoft turned them down, and Sony came in like a heart attack and just took that. They're like, y'all are stupid for letting these people get away from you.
Yeah, for sure.
Management problems at Xbox has always been plaguing them since the days of the Xbox One. I don't know why. That was when we look back.
Bro, they walked away from Marvel and said, no, we don't want to make Spider-Man and we don't want to make Marvel IPs on our system. And they walked away from Spider-Man.
PlayStation walked in and Spider-Man turned PlayStation around. Spider-Man is now 1-1 with PlayStation. It's like
Correct.
I mean, that game is good. That game is the standard bearer for every superhero game that comes out now. It
And
has
when you think about it, like Xbox, they do have like a long history of just like dropping the ball. Like and in the past like 8 or 9 years, this hasn't been the first occurrence. I don't know if y'all watched that Xbox documentary that came out about 2, maybe 3-ish years ago. On YouTube. Yeah, that was good. That was really good. I highly recommend watching that. But at one point, Rockstar came to them to actually, give them marketing deals for what would eventually become Grand Theft Auto 3. They didn't want it. And then what happened? That went over to Sony. And now, for the better half of a decade, Grand Theft Auto was synonymous with PlayStation.
Yeah.
And then they dropped the bag on that. And then it's just now they could have had an opportunity to make that. Not saying that would have been exclusive, but that would have been like a 1-in-1 thing that would have been with Xbox. And then that could have been a very lucrative deal for them. So this ain't the first time that they've been fucking up. Excuse my language, but yeah, it's a long story history.
No,
Microsoft has passed on so many different opportunities that it's sickening. Like, even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? So, in other words, if they had just accidentally said yes to an IP, at this point, they would have probably ended up with something that was a AAA banger, right? How can they so consistently miss on every single thing? They missed on Destiny, they missed on Spider-Man, they missed on Grand Theft Auto, they missed on other IPs throughout the whole entire thing. And the funny thing is, multiple times they came to Microsoft first and said, hey, we want to pitch you this. And they're like, well, we're not really sure about that. I mean, spreadsheets are really our thing, and we don't really want to, put a lot of money into, funding games. I mean, what's wrong with Solitaire and Minesweeper? I mean, it's the Bert and Ernie effect for me. I mean, I'm just like, are you kidding me right now? Like who do I have to go to Microsoft and smack around to be able to pay attention to? Like, why not hire a cohort of actual gamers to say, bro, I really want to play a game like such and such, and then you say, oh, that's a game you like? Huh? Why don't we try making it?
Let me ask y'all this question. So,
okay, go ahead.
The Xbox showcase is what, June 11th?
Nobody cares.
Damn!
Hey, look,
I was just like,
after that man came on that podcast, showed his face, and said what he had to say. Hey, look, all bets was off the table at that point.
Hey, and also, in the next section, we're gonna talk about that podcast. But also, before you get to that, Richard.
Okay, yeah.
Hey, everybody, thank y'all. This has been a lively chat. This has been 74 people live. Make sure everybody hit that like button. I'm telling you, this has been really good. Hey, I put Xbox in there. Everybody came here like, let's go kill it now.
It would have been even better if you would have started on time. Because I could have heard that first part of the conversation.
Hey, if the podcast is coming next year, y'all, it's coming. We probably.
You know what's crazy? And I gotta say, the future refs, we probably got more people watch this podcast right now than people playing Redfall. I'm just saying.
Wow.
That was hard.
You know what?
That's funny.
Glasses up to that one.
That was good. But Retro, talk about that. Then next we're gonna go into talking about this interview because we gotta talk about this interview. But Retro,
okay, so I think right now we're not to be over dramatic, but I think we're at a crossroads for Xbox right now.
Are we now?
Well, I mean, okay, you know what I mean. I'm just saying this showcase. If they already had it scheduled and everything lined up, I'm pretty sure Phil and team have probably gone back to say, we need to make some adjustments now.
Yes.
Right? It needs to happen. We need to come with the straight flames. None of this indie bullshit. And we've got this little bitty game from this little mini studio. No, we don't want to see any of that. We don't want to see what's added new to Game Pass.
No in-game trailer.
We don't want no in-game trailers. We want to know, is it running 60 frames? Is the game going to release on time? Is the game completed? And does it look exclusive? Good? Isn't it exclusive? Or am I going to be able to pick this up on Switch, PlayStation 5, Steam Deck, PC? I need to know these things. They have to come correct. And I don't know what the lineup's going to be. I haven't looked that far, but at this point, what Starfield? they might drive something for that, maybe. They may
That's
show a
next
little
biggest- that's
bit.
next biggest
Well,
thing.
so okay, it's
Going
two
in
things,
with low-
right? So they've got the
going in
game
with low
showcase,
expectations.
and then they've got Starfield showcase. So you're gonna get 20 minutes of gameplay of Starfield. Man, I'm telling you, if this game does not knock just into the stratosphere, this has to be the home run for the ages. If it doesn't hit, I don't know how Microsoft's going to come back off this, because it's like, of course I'm excited about Hellblade 2. Of course I'm excited about Gears of War 6. But, where are we in the development cycle? How close are we to actually getting those? I feel like Hellblade's not that far off. I think it's probably going to be sometime in 2024 is my guess. But at the end of the day, you have to have tentpole franchises that keep the top up so that all the other stuff can fill in the gaps underneath. And that way you've got a full ecosystem for people to be able to come in and enjoy and play games. If your tent poles are broken, like Halo was, granted, Halo now is a much better game than it was on launch, but the problem is you've already squandered and burned through all the goodwill. Your game has to be as good as it can be at launch with only small, kind of modifications over time. Not everything is going to be No Man's Sky. Not everything is going to be Sea of Thieves, where you get the pass for like, well, they're still developing this and we're adding this physics and we're going to blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bro, it's like you are almost $2 trillion company. 2 trillion with the effing T, with an effing T. And
Alex,
you can't get this shit right.
Alex, to your point, right? So, hell, I don't even know anymore. You just
He said it all.
I was like,
Said it all.
damn, I had it in my mind. And I was like, man, all right.
Well, let's transition to the interview that Phil did on the Xbox podcast on was it the Not Funny Being Funny?
Right,
something like
just
that.
before you transition, that's the other thing too, right? If Xbox wants to be more PC like, let me pick the resolution. Let me go ahead and drop it down to 1080p. Let me play at 120 frames per second, and I'm happy. I don't have to have 4K 60. I don't have to have any other stuff. Let me pick. Oh, ray tracing? I'm going to turn that bitch off so that I can actually shoot somebody in the head from across the map because I've got a higher frame rate than the idiot who's sitting there playing on quality mode. I don't care. I want to have more granular control of what I can do with my Xbox. I want to be able to dial in. If I'm at 1440p and 120 frames a second, I'm good. I don't have to be at 4K. Because at that point, if I'm playing competitively, what am I doing? I'm probably nose to glass. I'm in front of a monitor. I'm no longer in front of a TV, and frames matter. When you play a fighting game, literally the frame drops can determine who wins and who doesn't win, especially when you've got two ultra high level competitors. So, that's the type of thing where I'm like, just even if you can't get your tools, quote unquote, fixed, and you can't, pull the performance out of the paper specs, give me the option to dial shit down so I can at least play the games that I want to play. And, at that point, then you've got a more PC-like experience. And I think that would probably help smooth a lot of this out for a lot of us. And it's like, you want to go back and patch some of that other stuff in behind the scenes, go ahead, knock yourself out. I'm still playing it, 120 frames a second. That's all I care about. So, that's the type of stuff that they just need to, open up the controls and let us personally spec out how we want to do our consoles. And let me talk about two things here. This might be controversial.
That'd be good.
Why on God's green earth? Why on God's green earth did they make an Xbox Series S? They should have just made a Series X without the disk drive and not had two SKUs, because games like Baldur's Gate 3, they're like, well, we're not sure we're going to even release this game because we can't do split screen. You can't do split screen on the Xbox Series S. The hell is wrong with you? Microsoft is like, well, we have a parity clause and you have to make sure that both games perform equally in terms of like, I'm like, no, you are killing yourself. You have hamstrung yourself for no good reason. Either get rid of the Series S or tell them that they no longer have to have parity in terms of features. Then at that point, the Xbox Series X will start speaking of its superiority to its little dumpy one-legged cousin.
Oh my goodness! Hey, we talking about one legs here. Hey, stop this shit. We talking about one legs here.
Hey, yours was acquired though. You know what I'm saying? You weren't.
But no, okay. Let's talk about, and also welcome my good friend Destiny Fomo. She was talking about this. This is funny what she said. Microsoft is a $2 trillion company, not Xbox. That's funny.
So Microsoft is awesome. I got $2 trillion. Y'all broke that type of job energy.
Well, of course, Microsoft is a $2 trillion company.
Hey,
but at
Justin
the
said
end
Alex
of
is
the
being invited to the
day-
players' hater ball after this overnight.
I'm a hey.
He gonna get a one-way ticket to the hater players ball.
Oh shit!
Oh
Man,
my
I'm
goodness.
spiking
The
the
hate is
hater
strong
rate.
with
this
Come on
one.
over and have
I
yourself
can
a
feel
drink.
the smell of from over here.
Yeah, we need to get you a drink. Why Alex
Get
get a
that
drink?
haterade
We
going.
why get him a drink? We also gonna transition over to the interview, because that interview was like the most saddest, mundane, defeated. Like, you know what? Fuck it.
I thought it was good.
It was a good interview. No, it was really
good.
good.
It was
But he
definitely
was
good.
like, I felt so sorry for him. I was like,
I
I
didn't.
felt
But
bad.
it was
I
good for
felt
us.
bad.
It was good for us, not for him though. I mean,
But
It
Steve,
reminds me of that movie,
Steve,
like-
do you see the interview, Steve?
Yeah, it reminds me of the movie. Like, thank you, sir. Can I have another, please? Like that's all I kept thinking the whole interview. I just kept like,
Like,
it was
I'm so glad they had his face up on the screen, because like every question that you just
It's
see
like
is
this,
like
y'all.
his
Look,
face drop
like-
lower and lower every question they asked. I was like, damn, my man is hella
I don't think
defeated
his seat
right
could
now.
go anymore.
It was like Charlie Brown. They was like, wah, 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 wah. Yes, ma'am. Wah, wah, wah,
Boy,
wah, wah, wah.
you saw when they asked.
What am I, Charlie Brown?
Yeah.
You saw when they asked me that first question about Redfall. That man had to take a deep breath and close his eyes. What you see about I think about that. It's like, man, he
See,
over
what
there, he
happened
over there grasping
was-
the straws.
Hey, and then Phil said, like, I know y'all trying to make me feel good, but I'm just not in the mood for it.
It's like, I'm in my grumpy mode all week.
I was good.
No, you know
Phil
what?
is
Look,
done.
they should have let me interview Phil Spencer.
No,
That's what I'm saying.
No,
Because I would have been
you'd have
like,
made that
oh yeah,
man
you know
jump in
what?
the
You
traffic or
should feel
something.
bad. You know why? Because you are killing one of my favorite things of all time. You are putting a knife into the heart of my baby, and I don't appreciate it. Y'all
No.
need to back up with that.
Nah,
It's
we
sort
can't
of
let
like
Alex
you
talk,
know
nah.
I mean, you know, they
I know
So-
my friend. I know my friend. We can't let him talk. I know him
He's-
because
he's-
Alex would send him to the hospital, and then Alex would charge him a bill for it.
I mean, so you got to think of it this way. I'm thinking of it in a couple other ways too, right? So Phil's getting it just from the media side, right? Because he's the
Yeah.
face of it all.
Mhm.
I'm worried about everybody that's actually really in the trenches working on every game, that's
That's
been a
under
part
him.
of acquisitions. Because we're talking about, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, we talk about someone's got to go and we got to get somebody else in there. We're talking about somebody's livelihood, y'all.
Yeah.
We're talking about somebody that's
Mhm.
got to pay bills. They got
Facts.
kids. They got
Yep.
people to feed. They all that. So I mean, we say all this on this podcast, but we wish no bad harm towards anybody's careers or anything like that. But we have
Get Alex a
to.
hug.
But I mean, I'm just saying. But I'm just saying, as a consumer and as a gamer, they have to hear this, and I'm sure they're hearing it from different angles. They
Yo.
have to see that it's a constant pattern, and you keep repeating that pattern until folks are going to stop giving you the benefit of doubt, and they're going to start digging in your ass, which is exactly what we starting to do, especially Alex.
Yeah, Alex.
well, I mean, and to the point though, right? Like, I'm not actually saying that Phil Spencer needs to be fired. I mean,
Well, yeah,
it's like
yeah,
honestly, it's like he has done a lot of good for the Xbox like debacle that was started by Don Matrick. But at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know if he has enough to kind of push everything over the hump, right? Like, he's got it. He's got that, you know, it's sort of like the Atlas Stones, the world's strongest man competition. He's got the ball up, but bro, you got to put it on the pedestal or it doesn't count. And it's like, I'm just like, you know, just keep blowing. I'm like, come on, please, just get it on the pedestal. Just get it on the pedestal.
You know
And
what?
he's
Listen,
close,
hey,
man.
Alex. You know this is bad, right? I may seem bad, but look at this right here. I just found this. When the freaking Washington Post start talking about freaking Xbox, y'all, and talking about Phil Spencer, that's
Oh, you
national
know-
news. I mean,
Yeah, you
this-
know that-
look at
that
this.
ain't
They
good.
don't usually talk about video game stuff. They rarely talk about, unless like on the
You know,
so-
actually, I'll be honest. The best
this
source
is
for
Gene Park,
gaming
so yeah,
news.
this is good. This is by Gene. Gene Park is really good. He's really good. He's
He's
in
good,
the
yeah.
game division. He's really dope. But I was saying, like, wow. I was typing about Phil Spencer and stuff, and I just trying to find some funny faces, and I saw the Washington Post thing. It's like, yo, the world's when it's on Washington Post, normal people outside of gamers are starting to talk about that, and that's when it's like, okay, do we need to hit this button now, or what's going on? Because, dude, you fucking up, and it couldn't even be him, but he's taking all the blame. But it's all these other people who are being lazy, lackadaisical, not doing their job, and he probably like really fighting because I know he loves Xbox.
That's what I was gonna say. We're putting a lot of blame on him, but what about the market? I mean, marketing has to take some of the blame for this because marketing could be seeing it. Marketing.
What are you marketing? What game are you marketing?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you get a lot of the.
No, I mean, marketing would probably be there if they had games, so you can't blame marketing either. I mean,
they could be, but they could be turning to go to a different angle than what we see.
What are you going to do?
Right
Be
now?
like, hey, look, I took a different picture of the Xbox Series X with a different cool background.
Marketing,
hey, buy this
marketing
console.
goes even. Because I work with marketing, as in my day job.
So explain to me how marketing is going to help anything.
Because marketing will control the narrative. Marketing will control how a product is being delivered to the public. Marketing will control what audience it's targeted to. Like you mentioned about changing specs in an Xbox. My son, who's 10 years old, you tell him to go into the settings to change it to 120 frames per second and turn off anti-aliasing and all this other stuff. He's going to look at you cross-eyed. You said about the Xbox Series S and why put that out there?
No, but I'm not saying take away the defaults. I'm just saying to have an advanced mode where people can go in.
Yeah, they said in the chat room too. Then that's kind of like a PC. Then there would be no reason for an Xbox. No, and I agree with that. But having the Xbox Series S, like you were saying about a second SKU, we got that for my son because none of the other ones were available at Christmas time, and like he loved it because it was all digital. And I know that's a bad word here. We're all physical collectors here, right?
Oh, good.
That word right
this
there,
generation,
I mean, bro, I've got
they're
like
marketing
plus digital Xbox games, right? So like for me, digital is not a four-letter word, but the bottom line is they confuse the market by having two SKUs. If they had one SKU, one with a disk drive and one without a disk drive, had $100 differential on it, they would have been in a much better spot because guess what? You're now only developing for one SKU. When you're developing for PlayStation, it doesn't matter if it's digital or if it's the disc-based system.
But then that falls on marketing. That doesn't fall on the CEO.
I think both of y'all have some good sides on this stuff. On that, it's half marketing. There's also perception about different. Y'all both got saying good things. I think, in my 2 cents, is it because we just all speculate. We all don't know, but we do agree that there needs to be something done. And I guess Phil is just, he's going out to the fire range. All right, just take the shots. I'm done. And is Xbox dead? No, but it's on life. It may be. I always say life support, but it's not the Xbox of the glory days of 360. And I think all the people who stuck around when the Xbox came around, because that was fresh. The Dreamcast was gone. People who love the Dreamcast went to the Xbox. PC players like, oh, we got some from Microsoft. American companies there. Oh, rah, USA. Boom. All of that was goodwill. And then they had a killer title, Halo. Boom. Now, many years later, the Series X come out and like, okay, but where is that killer title? Everybody wants that fucking killer title, and we don't.
That's the reason why I bought the Xbox.
Hold on,
Halo.
Well, everybody wants that title, but what's pissing people off is that it's like they tease. It's like Xbox is like the strip club of the video game generation right now. They taking a little bit off. We're gonna get this, but we're not gonna get the whole thing. They keep lying and teasing you, and people are freaking fed up. People are like, I'm almost done. And even the hardest hardcore Xbox fans, even the crazy ones on Twitter, are about to give up. This year is the last year. If Xbox do not bring it, they are gone. You said it's going to give it to you. They ain't giving you nothing.
I'm going to stick with Xbox. I'm not even going front. I'm not front. I got a PlayStation 5. I got a couple PlayStations, whatever. I like Xbox, and the reason why it's more of a personal nostalgia for me, because a lot of my friend base, I created many friendships through Xbox.
Same here.
And I still have those friendships today through Xbox. We
Xbox
play
Live.
games through Xbox. Xbox Live is the OG. OG. I didn't get to create those through PlayStation. I didn't create them through Nintendo. I created them through Xbox. That is where my value lies with the console.
Answer that question in a minute, gamer.
So
What was the question?
Does anybody know gamers MD current console of choice this third generation?
Man, so I started out this generation 100% Xbox. I drank the Kool-Aid. I mean, I've got like the Master Chief. I've got 2 of the Master Chief Xbox Series X's. I've got Xbox Series X. I have a PS5 as well. I have an Xbox Series X at my condo with a PS5. I've got 2 Xbox Series X's upstairs for the LAN party people coming up to
he
the
knows
house.
it's going to be like the TurboGrafx.
Xbox Series X in the basement. So I've got 5 Xbox Series X's. Like so if somebody thinks that I'm not a diehard Xbox fan, you're smoking crack. I'm just fed up with the bullshit. I'm just so friggin' tired of the bullshit. I think that marketing has no runway at this point. There is nothing you can do from a marketing standpoint to fix anything because people are going to be like, "Oh yeah, man, the specs are awesome. What games can I play?" Well,
that's what I'm saying.
Bro.
Marketing messed it up. Marketing messed it up to this point.
Honestly, they should have not. You know what? If Xbox Series X launched this January, we would have been fine. Why? Because you would have had Forza. You would have a much better updated version of Halo. All those types of games could have been released at the beginning of this, and then you could have fixed all the problems that you're having with Redfall. Starfield being in the second half of the year, no problem. You'd be way closer to release dates in terms of like, oh God, what's the name of the game? The one with the Hellblade 2. You would have this clearer runway of what's happening next. We've had so much dead space, right? Like, just remember, right? When the Xbox 360
we got
dropped,
dead space on the PlayStation, though.
And Mass Effect.
Yeah, but okay, that's actually a great point, right? You're looking at a multi-platform game, and what's the problem? The ray tracing is worse on Xbox. The lighting, the frames, the frame dips, all that kind of stuff. Why is it worse on Xbox, right? And people are going to be like, well, it's
COVID.
The development kits. No, man, COVID, look, Nintendo and Sony had COVID, and they still came out with a better release cadence with higher quality games. That's all I'm saying.
My ass is getting old at this point, and me being able to tell the difference between this pixel and that pixel is minuscule at this point. That's just my personal opinion. Like, it play what you want to play it on whatever console that you want to play it on, and if it's Xbox, great. If it's PlayStation, great. If it's Nintendo, great. They all have different games. They all have a different path that they run in terms of what games that they're releasing. The problem right now is that Xbox just doesn't know where they want to walk. That's the problem. They're over here and they want to do the Game Pass thing, and they're over here and they want to do the indie thing, and then they're over here and they're like, hey, we're working on all these titles. There's a lot of different things that Xbox is working through. They just need to consolidate and focus and hone in and figure out what their true purpose in the gaming industry is going to be. If it's cloud-based thing, go down your Stadia path if that's what you want to do. If it's gonna be console based, I know. I was like, oh shit. I was like, I know. I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying.
That scared me for a second, bro.
And I threw that out there with that. I put the Heisman on that thing.
Would you say Stadia? That kind of remind me when Steve back in the day. This fool bought the darn Google glasses, and he could tell you about them Google glasses back in the day. Like,
hey, I paid all my money back and then some on there. When I sold them 2 years later. No, but I think we all can agree. Like when we buy all the 3 different systems, we're buying them for specific games. That's the only reason why I bought the Xbox. Mm-hmm. Steve. I'm like you. I'm Nintendo and I'm PlayStation. I do like the Xbox, but I feel like the games that I play, like I was sold on Uncharted. That is my all-time favorite game on PlayStation. So when Xbox, it's the Halo. That's why I bought the Xbox Series X. And then it was delayed. They're like, what the heck, right? So what am I supposed to play? Xbox One games on my Xbox Series X, right? For 8 months, we're waiting for this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think I agree with Retro, man. I'm like, it's like they got to do something, or it's just gonna be bad news. Like I want them to come out with new games. Otherwise, I'm gonna go out and buy another Xbox Series X and S, and I'm gonna keep it in the package, and I'm not gonna open it because 20 years from now, I'm gonna buy my retirement yacht. And I'm going to say thank you, Microsoft. Thank you, Xbox. Because now it's worth 50,000 plus because it's going to be rare.
You know what this conversation has really it's created in my mind for me. It has solidified that each console that I have has a use case. Xbox has a use case for me. The use case is sharing my online gameplay with my friends. That is what my use case is for Xbox. PlayStation is solely for my solo games that I play on my own. I don't need anybody else. I play a lot of the one-person titles on PlayStation. Nintendo is a heavy mix between friends, family, my daughter, those are my use cases for the three main publishers right now for video game consoles. So I think it fits into different narratives compared to anybody out there. Whether you collect all of them or you collect one, it is what it is. I mean, yes. Now, I will say this. There are faults amongst every single one of those publishers.
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
Every
100%.
single one of those publishers.
Yep.
You know, PlayStation, we've heard of overheating
Don't
consoles.
lay it sideways.
Yeah, overheating consoles and issues and all this blah blah blah. And of course, we know the lack of games on Xbox. And Nintendo just wants to put and release every damn remastered, remade 2.0, 3.0 version of the same damn game over
and they'll still buy it.
and over, and our dumbasses keep buying the shit.
That mark is there. That mark is there. Hey,
And Nintendo, if there was ever anything that Microsoft needs to take from any console developer, is from Nintendo. Y'all need to jack every last one of their marketing folks because they got the game on lock. No pun intended.
Yep.
I put a poll in the chat right now. I just want to say, is Xbox system dead? Is the platform dead? I don't think so, but
I don't think it's dead. You should put it in. Is it on?
It's dead.
Is it
Yeah,
dying?
I would say it's probably in hospice right now. It's not even.
Yeah.
It's
No,
He
it's
said
not.
it's
It's
an
not quite
ICU.
in the hospice. It's still in the ICU. Like, and trust
Oh,
me,
just
because
kidding. Oh
I'm
my
a
God.
doctor. Like, it's in the ICU.
Yes, it's not. See, that's what you go do. You don't call Phil Spencer to go in the ICU. You know, you're gonna charge his ass and stuff.
He gonna be.
He want to come in to give you a hug because
Phil's gonna be like,
Phil's
Phil's gonna be like, I can save it. I know I can. Like Phil, trust
But
me. I'm a
Retro
doctor.
Neo, ever since my kid got a PlayStation 5 for this past Christmas, that's all he plays. Like I have the S, I pay for that monthly, but he doesn't want to lose his games. He'll play it like once in a blue moon. But he used to play. I play Fortnite with them, and he used to
Oh my
play it on his
goodness.
Switch.
Look at this.
And I had to introduce him.
Microsoft One Up Arcade. Oh my god.
And disability, also too, disability. He makes out really good parts for Xbox for arcade one-ups. So y'all make sure you'll visit his YouTube channel. Visit.
Oh,
his-
dude, he's doing new stuff now.
is he doing new stuff?
Look at my Instagram. I just posted a picture of it. He's making these Super Mario docks for your Switch that you can put your Switch in it. and it has,
Oh,
like,
hey,
Ooh.
disability. You need to hit your boy up. That turtle
telling you,
it was
it's
good.
pretty
Oh my
sweet.
goodness, it was good. He does a lot of good work.
It's all really, really nice. If you look at my Instagram, I've just posted a picture tonight of it. And
But let's get back to the Xbox.
hold
hate.
up.
No.
But yeah, but no,
It's
no.
not the Xbox
Yeah.
hate.
But that's where my son really realized the point I was getting at with the Switch and the Xbox. He was playing Fortnite on there at 30 frames a second. When he went and played it on the PlayStation 5, his response time was a lot better. He started to understand what 60 frames per second was. Now that's the only way he'll play like battle royale games or Call of Duty.
Once you
But
get that
when
crack, you can't go back on that.
Well, here's the thing. But then when we go on the road and he wants to play something, he grabs his Switch. So with what Retro's saying, like we're grabbing certain consoles to play certain games at certain times, depending on our needs and our wants, right?
Yeah.
So Xbox has got to get us some games that we can justify. One, paying $500 for this thing, and two, keeping it around. Because Steve, did I hear you right? You sold yours?
Which one? So what now?
Did you sell your Xbox Series X?
I gave it to my ex-wife.
Oh, okay. You might as well say it was sold then.
That's another
It was
X right
part
there.
of the
There you go.
settlement, and he was happy.
There to give him the house, right?
Yeah. Stop.
No, but I mean, like, you know what's really interesting, right? Like, so I told you that, Gears is one of my favorite franchises. Well, Diablo is my other, like, top franchise, right? And Diablo 4, like, the way they did the marketing and the beta and the closed beta, open beta, Mother's Day weekend beta with Lilith and all that stuff, I'm like, bro, these guys have got this stuff on lock. The game has gone gold.
Yeah.
The multiplayer being able to play PC, PlayStation, and Xbox is flawless. I had an amazing time. I was playing on my Series X. My buddies were playing on their PS5s and PCs. We would use Discord chat, come up into the thing, boom, we're just knocking it out. And it was just drop in, drop out. Other than technical issues and stuff like that, that kind of popped up at the very beginning in terms of like being able to get into the lobbies and stuff like that. Once you got past that and everything had stabilized, holy shit, we were having an amazing time. And I'm like, they were able to do that across how many SKUs? They hit PC across the board, no problem. They hit Xbox across the board, no problem. It's 4K 60. PlayStation 5, 4K 60. Everybody is getting performance on that. It's it's scaling really well. The multiplayer is really good, and I'm just kind of like, that's the type of stuff that we should be seeing on a regular basis. So it technically shouldn't matter where you're playing, but your ability to play with other people is there. Again, Microsoft, as soon as they start getting a regular cadence of high quality titles that are coming out on a regular basis, with us being able to say, hey, yeah, you know what? I got my Xbox Series X. I'm playing this game, bro. Y'all should check this out. This is amazing. It's like, well, I'm a PS5 guy. It's like, bro, you're a gamer first. Gaming is the hobby, not console warring, not none of that stuff. Your whole entire focus should be on the gaming experiences that you get per platform. If you go look at my Twitter profile, my number one thing, #be platform agnostic. Really firmly believe that if you don't own all the platforms or have access to them, you're missing out on some high quality games from everybody. The problem is Microsoft has been a harder sell of recent because they have not had a good stream of AAA games coming from their first party studios. And the promise of what Xbox Game Pass is supposed to be, to some extent, is tarnished and diminished. They need to fix this in order to be able to pivot into saying, hey, we have all these great quality games. Please come into our ecosystem. Because one of the things that Phil said in this interview, right? He was all like, well, it's
I'm
not...
just saying it right now.
Well, no, but listen, he said that it's like, well, if we made like Starfield 11 out of 5, it's not like people are going to ditch their PS5s. I'm like, bro, that's the wrong mindset. You don't want them to ditch their PS5. You want them to buy an Xbox Series X so they can play that game. And the new generation of gamers that are out there, the kids, the teens, the tweens, that kind of people, you want them to be able to start investing in your ecosystem now. So when the next generation of console comes out, you already have an entire army of people that are like, I cannot wait for the Xbox Series X2 or whatever you want to call it. That's where the investment goes in, because you're picking up, you're playing catch up from the Xbox One, PS4 era. He said it himself. He said, look, people are invested. They have their digital libraries. They want to continue on. I'm like, bro, it's like the 8 and 9-year-olds now don't really have a digital library. Invest in bringing those people up.
They don't care about it.
They have 3 games.
Or maybe
they don't. Well, they like games. Roblox. They play Roblox.
They like Roblox,
Roblox and Minecraft. That's
Minecraft, Genshin Impact. Those 4 games.
Yep, that's true.
That's what consumes the average child between the ages of 6 and 12 right now. And Apex Legends, if you want to add that too. So 5.
Fortnite in there too?
Yeah, Fortnite's in there. Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, Apex Legends, Genshin Impact. Those 5 games.
And Legend of Zelda, you mean? Legend of Zelda on the PlayStation?
Pretty much.
I think one of Xbox's main issues is they're trying to be buddy and just cordial and friendly with everybody, especially with just that, like their messaging, their marketing, all that stuff, like trying to get their games on Nintendo, trying to get Game Pass on PlayStation, because we already know that if they had it their way and then things could actually go that way, that stuff would happen to where they can get stuff on PlayStation, Nintendo, things like that. I feel like they've lost a lot of their competitive edge since the Xbox One generation, especially on the whole thing that's going on with Don Matrick. Now it's just like you were saying earlier, just trying to play catch up, and just looking at how the messaging that Phil was saying in the interview, especially the one part was like Starfield needs to be 11 out of 10 and start selling systems. I'm like, nobody's ever thought that way. Nobody would ever just sell their one system that they invested hundreds of hours into, hundreds of thousands of dollars into, just to play one particular game.
Unless they get divorced.
Yeah.
But that comparison was done. That comparison was done to cartridge-based consoles also too, in that podcast. So he was talking about, like, look, the days of purchasing a console that was cartridge based, and then we could just wipe off the map and start over in the next console. You can't do that anymore. That's not possible anymore.
It's so different. Like
it's way different.
Like Justin's saying now, so Nintendo has proven you can be successful without a graphical powerhouse.
Exactly. Yep.
And I was talking with one of my friends just the other day, because anytime you have a conversation that's platform specific, I can't even say shit right, but like Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, you're gonna get the fans out. And one thing that everybody always talk about, Switch is not graphical impressive. Who gives a crap if it's not graphics? Look, Zelda may be released at 30 frames per second, but you think anybody gonna matter?
Hell no. Story's gonna be bomb.
It's gonna be a
gameplay.
game. It's gonna be a game.
You can play it on emulation and on the PC
and bump it up. I know somebody in the chat, 2 or 3 people in the chat that got one and that's probably playing it.
We ain't gonna blast nobody. Nintendo
we ain't gonna blast nobody. We ain't gonna blast. You're
gonna be old enough for the rest of your life. So
a little redhead that pops in and out. She might have it on her. We're not gonna talk about that.
Don't get nobody in trouble.
No, we ain't get nobody in trouble. Nintendo bitches might be listening just because it's competitive. Get them, But no, it's so crazy too, because I love to use a comparison with my nephew, and matter of fact, I just found out he was 8, 9 years old and got a freaking YouTube channel, y'all. And it's for him, what kids do, it's YouTube Kids. But anyway, he got a Switch, and his dad got an Xbox. I mean, the Switch is like, they don't fuss like us grown ass adults about graphical and 60 frames per second, all that kind of stuff. They just want to play games. Nintendo has games. You go on Nintendo, like, you pop in, like, I might just pull something out if I can. Pause or pull something out. Pause. But you look at, like, look. Oh, here we go. Yeah. You pulling this out, right? You pulling this out. You put Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, right? I mean, it's a good game. It's for Nintendo. You can't really say that right now. Only thing you can say for Xbox, maybe. Oh yeah, that's Xbox. It's always like, if you can get the casuals on board, then you got something good. Nintendo has the casuals on board. PlayStation definitely had the casuals on board, because what they associate with PlayStation, Call of Duty and Madden, and I get sick of tired of him. I get sick of time. Yo, man, play that Call of Duty. Anytime I wear a PlayStation hat, I have another brother. Oh man, you on that Call of Duty? Like, nigga, no. I ain't on that. I ain't on that. No, I'm not on that. And yes, I'll keep it at the end. No, I'm not on that.
Oh shit.
No, I don't do that.
That's how you know that was recent.
He went straight Chappelle on that shit.
Should I cancel the live stream you and I were going to do after this show with Call of Duty? Should I cancel that? We all got to go ahead and play Call of Duty.
But like I said, if I pull an Xbox shirt on or have an Xbox head, ain't too many people asking me what I'm playing or what you playing on. They're not really. They say, oh yeah, you got that. What's on that? It's not identifiable like it used to be. And I hate that as a gamer. I hate that. I really do hate
what? That you made a great point on that right there, because I mean, over the last couple of months, ever since the whole YouTube thing, I find myself wearing nothing but video game apparel, like everywhere I go at this point. It's so crazy. Like before, I was in polo shirts and button ups and all that. Now I'm like, just rocking gamer tees and all that.
And you married,
I'm comfortable.
You got your family. You ain't trying to do nothing.
I like converted, like complete walkout. Like, you wearing that out the house? I'm like, yeah, gamer, I gotta represent.
Full nerd mode. Full nerd mode activated.
Hey, no down here repping Xbox in these streets. I gotta do
everything. But to that point, I'll rep Xbox gear, and out of the last 6 or 7 months of rocking Xbox gear, one person. PlayStation always get hit up.
Yep.
Nintendo always get hit up.
Yes.
Neo Geo, I have people stop me and want to talk for 5 minutes. I'm like, damn, like, you know about Neo Geo? Okay, let's have a chat. Let's talk. But the fact of the matter is like, we need to go back. We need to go back to the marketing piece. This is how you market your business.
What you mean? You don't want different colored controllers in a refrigerator? That's not what you want.
I have the refrigerator and I have different colored controllers. And I'll tell you this: the refrigerator is turned off because it over freezes.
I think it was it was somebody on, I think it was YouTube or Twitter. It was someone on YouTube or Twitter. I think his name was Dustin Laguerre, if I'm saying his name correctly. Like I remember him saying something along the lines of, Xbox has now officially gone an entire generation to where kids nowadays don't even remember it's a cool factor because everybody within this podcast is, I assume, over the age of 30. We was there when we was seeing how Xbox was, how dope it was back then. But the fact that nowadays, like people, especially kids, because kids think everything is pretty much cool for the most part. They don't even look at Xbox and be like, oh man, Xbox has, like X amount of games. They don't have this, that, the third. They went an entire generation and a half without kids just thinking that what is there on Xbox. I mean, of course, you got the Halo, but other than that, like, what else do you got? PlayStation, you can go down a list, like an entire laundry list of stuff. Nintendo, an entire laundry list of stuff. But with Xbox, is a lot of their mainstay stuff just did not carry over. Like from the Xbox 360 to Xbox One and Xbox One to the series, it just stayed kind of mute. They've been trying to get back on their feet, but it's like now they're just in a perpetual cycle of just trying to get everybody. If we can't get people with games, we're gonna get it with services. That's why they keep trying to sell Xbox Game Pass for like $1. It is as long as we have, as long as we got people, as long as they just stopped doing that. But as long as we got people within that service, as long as we got people with that service, I mean, we good.
It's just a numbers game to them. And I converted it to 3 years of Game Pass Ultimate for $1. That was the sweetest gig. And then it's like now you can find it where basically you could buy 3 months at a time for like $10 a month basically. And I'm like, that puts it on in, if it's $120 a year, that's very similar to the ultimate version of the PlayStation. That's their equivalent price point. Ultimately it's like I want Xbox to succeed and I want them to be competitive and I want them to take Sony to the mat, because it's like, if you think about it, right, when we had the 360 PS3 era, man, games went back and forth, exclusives were going back and forth. I mean, it was vicious, and we as the consumer were the ones that benefited from that competition. And it was like, you always knew that there was a new game coming around the corner, and it's like they'd announced it at E3, you'd be able to get it by Christmas or whatever, or you knew that it was coming in the first half of the next year. Like everything was like clockwork. And I know that these games are getting bigger, and I know that they're harder to develop. I mean, I get all that, but it's like at the same time, it's like I'm tired of the waiting, and I'm tired of just sitting there going, bro, it's like, please give us something else. I mean, it's like,
they talk.
It's just exactly. It's just smoke and mirrors.
They talk. I think, and also too, and this is a whole nother conversation, but the way society is now with mediocrity, and people are like just fucking, I don't care, doing the basic shit to get by. And this is a different part of the conversation, but that's what it seems like with Xbox. They just doing what it can get by. Let me buy this over here, and okay, yeah, as long as the heat die down in another couple months, then we can get another one. It's all the time. It's the same stuff. And then this same conversation probably be happening next year because nobody is holding these people accountable. We'll come on here, we'll talk and complain and be mad, but the people with the power ain't gonna do nothing. We've seen it in so many companies. It's like the theme since COVID. Mediocrity. Put out, like, look at this freaking Pokemon. That game should have put out like that.
That game was trash.
That game was trash, but what? They sold like 3 million, something like that. And they ain't put no patch out.
Can we pivot for a second? Can we be honest
hold on, but still, like you're saying, all this mediocrity, I'm just so sick of it. It's like, they don't care. They care. It's like, it's like this. I made a mistake. No, you didn't make no mistake. You made a choice, and now you sad because you got caught. They got caught over and over and over, and now they doing this little apology to it. We're gonna do this, and then sure enough, just like a Taco Bell menu, people gonna forget about it in 2 months. But go ahead.
No, but what I was gonna say was, it's like, can we pivot for a second and just admit that the Switch at this point is an underpowered piece of just turd. Like, we really need to have a Switch 2 at this point.
I mean, we
and
do,
it's like,
but I still say the Switch is good. Yes.
I don't think it's a target.
Hey, it
I don't
makes
think it's
money.
a turd.
The target audience doesn't care.
The
right? target audience for
it's not
Switch
us.
doesn't care. They care about the games. Nintendo is creating solid games,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're creating solid titles that are replayable, and hence why we have so many different remakes of the same damn game for the last 20 plus years, because we like going back and playing those games. And now our kids are doing the same thing, and now we're making movies of those said games that are making billions of dollars.
Yeah, they cleared $1 billion on that. I mean, but see, that's the thing though, right? Like, I'm not saying that Nintendo has to break the bank. I just want something. I think that they themselves, my guess is first quarter of 2024 we'll have a new Switch in hand. That's my prediction.
Destiny's a big
I doubt it.
I think Destiny and Gamer are going to be good friends. Football numbers, she said 122 million units.
As long as Nintendo keeps
sales, I'm talking about a turd in terms of specs, not sales. Obviously,
and
it's doing
again, Alex, I'm
well.
playing devil's advocate here. I completely understand you with the tech specs and all that, but I'm saying to the average consumer that's purchasing these devices, 85% of those individuals are not worried about the tech specs. They're worried about, is it replayable? Can I buy a game? Can I play that game? Does that game work? The other percentage of that group,
we're the 20%.
We're within that percentage that's focused on the graphics, because we grew up during a time frame where the production of consoles growing up for us was the console war. So what did they do to teach us that go buy a PlayStation, go buy an Xbox, go buy a Nintendo? This one has the better specs. Yep. That's what we grew up listening to. Our kids don't give a damn about any of that. Hell, my daughter plays Roblox, Fortnite on every damn device in the house.
And it runs
in the house.
You know, you look at what is happening in the portable gaming sector, right? Like, so you've got the Steam Deck, and now you've got the ROG, ROG, the Ally, like handheld that's about to be released, and all that kind of stuff. Like, handheld gaming and portable gaming is amazing, right? And it's like Nintendo has always been king. I mean, they've absolutely dominated the market, no doubt about it. Number one across the board, have been historically forever, and actually kicked Sony completely out of the handheld market. Like, they literally are the 800-pound gorilla when it comes to portable entertainment, zero doubts. But the thing is that it's like, you know, the Switch, and if you look at most consoles in terms of generational lifespan, we're at the end of that, you know, the lifespan on that hardware. They really need to come up with some new hardware that is 100% backwards compatible, so that you can pull all of your Switch games forward. You know, maybe even get a performance bump on some of the games if they're patched accordingly. But it's like, you know, I always find that kind of odd, because it's like when you look at the NES and then you go to the SNES and then you go to, you know, the N64. I mean, we're talking major jumps in terms of technology, graphical prowess, et cetera, et cetera. When the GameCube launched, it was one of the most technologically superior pieces of hardware that existed. I mean, it was an absolute monster of a little machine. They did amazingly well with it. I'm just saying, it's like, I want something that's a little bit beefier, because it's like, at this point, I mean, you know,
but Alex, what about think back to the Game Boy when it launched? You had Sega Game Gear, and you had the Turbo Express. Who outsold the Game Gear and the Turbo Express?
I'm not.
This
again,
is Nintendo's playbook.
But that's the consumers.
No,
that's what Retro's saying. Like, they don't. We could have a Switch for another 4 years, and the consumers aren't going to care. They're like, we just keep giving me games.
Right to that point, Steve. Me and Wright both have bought new Switches for the Zelda release. We don't even fucking need it.
I told you he's a fruity pebble. You guys don't listen to me, man. You guys think I'm kidding all the time.
I forget you. But no, seriously.
Yeah, go ahead.
Alex Gamer, I understand what you're talking about. I 100% agree. We're the 20%, but I'm telling you, Nintendo, just like Steve said, that's Nintendo's playbook. They do not play.
No, I know.
But seriously, they do not play about anybody else. They play their own playbook. They've been doing that since the game. I'm about to say since the Wii, but he said the Game Boy. I'm like, oh yeah, they didn't been caring about graphics for a long time.
They were just
don't care. That's their playbook. Nintendo. I keep telling people this. Nintendo and Apple are probably the same. And I tell you why I say this, because their fans always produce the most insane rumors and believe them, and then get mad at the companies for not producing the rumors that they made up. They stay in their lane. Apple stay in their lane. Nintendo stay in their lane. Nintendo moves on when they feel that the technology is ready for them. They're still running 2016 Wii U hardware in a freaking Switch. They don't care. Look at all these kids. They don't care. I went to the Mario movie. How many freaking Switches? Look, how many freaking Switches? How many freaking Nintendo Switch and Switch lights did I see? How many Pokemon lights did I see? Nintendo is selling hand over fist. How many people just bought the god dang it Switch OLED, the Zelda one? They do not care. Nintendo has mounts of Switches.
I bought 2 of them.
I know.
I've got 3 of them.
There you go.
So, yeah, I mean,
listen,
no,
I
don't get
agree.
me wrong.
We
Like,
need-
listen.
I
need to clarify.
I'm not finished. Hello. I agree. We need another power. I would take it. Yes, we would take it. But is it needed? Yes and no. To Nintendo, they're not gonna do it. You know, Nintendo gonna be Nintendo. They do not give a dang. They're not doing that stuff. Nintendo petty. The more we talk about it, they don't give it to us. They petty's on get out. They ain't gonna give it to us.
Yeah, no. That's true. I mean, like, yeah, but here's the whole thing. Right? Like, I mean, Nintendo is an unqualified. I mean, they're an absolute, like, no doubt about it.
They're number one.
I bought Nintendo ADRs, which is Nintendo stock from Japan when I was like 16 years old. I still own those shares, right? Like they're still in my portfolio. So I'm good. Like, Nintendo has made me money hand over fist for a lifetime. I mean, I'm 100%. So it's one of those deals where it's like, I completely get it. What you're saying is 100% accurate and correct. But me personally, because I'm a nerd when it comes to this kind of stuff, I want Nintendo to be swinging because they could do it, right? I mean, like, look at the Super. No. But I mean, I'm talking about from the tech spec standpoint, right? Like, if you look
they ain't doing it right now.
No, but it's like
they ain't doing it. They don't care.
But just listen. Like, so for example, you look at the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis era. Yeah. SNES was edged out the tech specs of the Genesis, and it was like no problem. The same kind of thing happened, when N64 dropped. It was the first fully 3D, console that was out. Like, Super Mario World, it was one of the most revolutionary games ever made. I mean, it was just insane. And people it literally changed gaming. Like, Nintendo has always changed gaming every time they've wanted to. The thing is that the way they look at it is they're like, well, we want to be able to make a profit off every console unit sold day one, right? Like, that's where they kind of hit things. So they like, well, we don't want to bring a loss leader for us in terms of the console where we have to make up for it in software. They're like, we want to have our cake and eat it too. And they've been extraordinarily successful at doing that. I'm just saying, bring me that old school Nintendo where it's like, it's got the best hardware and the best games. Why can't you have both?
Yep. I about to say, like, and coming from me, Alex, like, I'm a techie too. I would definitely love to see a much more improved variation of the Switch, much more we got now. But in terms, like, just like what Steve and Retro was saying, like, they we want it, but they, in the grand scheme of things, like, they don't need it for the type of games they make. That's because true. Since the GameCube, actually, they haven't really been competing on like a technical aspect for over like damn near like 2 decades now. Because now they are more so focused on selling an experience as to just raw horsepower.
Yeah,
because the reason the Switch is doing like so phenomenally the way it is now, because it's one of the first of its kind to be a handheld, which they already dominated from the moment the Game Boy came out, and then a console. So now you got, both developers from both the handheld marketing side, and you got the ones from and you got the ones from the hardware. All of them are intertwined now. So it's like seeing the Switch now. This has been the first time since the N64 or the GameCube that there's been like mainline Pokemon games that's been on a system that you can play. Stuff like that is making it to where Nintendo is excelling right now. And then I'm sorry. Go ahead. That's what you're saying.
Oh, I was just gonna say that just the Pokemon thing, right? Like the fact that like the last 2 games that came out, it was chugging and struggling on the Switch. I'm not saying that it has to be on par with the Xbox Series X and PS5, But at least do something where it's like as your games are coming out, and if you want to hit 30, if that's your goal and that's where your budget is in terms of your hardware R&D, fair enough. But just have it be consistent. Just just bring it up to where we're getting the performance we need to have to be able to enjoy the games.
Well,
let me
ask this question to
Steven.
I
100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you on that.
Steven Retro, you guys just went out and bought the Zelda OLED with the old hardware. What if Microsoft came out with a new exclusive Xbox tomorrow?
I'll buy that shit.
Would you run out and buy it?
Yeah, of course.
I wanted the Halo
buy everything
Elite or the Halo Infinite version, and I couldn't get it, so I just missed
out. So you're not buying it for the tech specs of the hardware. You're buying it because it's a special edition or it's.
I am buying it for a special edition.
That's the difference between collecting and using.
Because you know
if
what?
You're collecting, you buy everything.
No, because listen, like all of us on here, we know what we're getting into. Like we knew what we getting into. The Nintendo. Everybody know when they buying a new Zelda or Switch. None of us need it. Like Destiny got 3, I got 1, 2. Ness probably got 2. Gamer got like 3 or 4 or 5.
I got like 7 in my house.
We don't need it.
I have 3.
Ridiculous.
Hey, look, listen. The average home has 2 Nintendo Switches in the house. Some have 3 to 4. It's like that. I saw an article that said like the Nintendo, like every person in the house at least had a Switch. They like had like a main Switch, and then they had that. They knew they was doing when they brought that that little mini Switch out, the light, the Switch light.
The light.
And a lot of people went out and bought that stuff. I mean, shit, that thing looking nice, especially the special editions. Nintendo does it right. They bring a special edition out, and we don't need it. But what is Xbox? This okay? Xbox used to be the king. Xbox 360 used to be the king of limited editions consoles.
Oh, hell yeah, bro.
The king.
Couldn't keep up.
Now, how many limited edition consoles have you seen from the Series X? You haven't seen the one. Now the Series X, you might have seen like, well, I got the one over here. You got the Gears of War, you got Halo, you got a Minecraft, you got a couple one, but they stopped there. It seems like as soon as they start Game Pass and trying to do all these acquiring these companies, they forgot. Xbox is like, oh, daddy going out to work, he ain't coming back, and he forgot about the family.
He went to go buy some milk.
He bought something else,
Let me ask y'all this question. So Phil was on this podcast with XCast, right?
Yes.
And they asked him, they grilled his ass. I feel they grilled him pretty good.
I mean,
if you were on that podcast. If you were on that podcast and you could have asked him one question, what would it have been?
Where the games at? Like I said, where's the beef? Where's the games?
You're directing.
I want to see a 2-year roadmap.
Okay.
I want to know where are you taking this console. I agree with Steve. Where's the games? That's what we want. Where are the exclusives?
Yes, where are the exclusives?
Where are the exclusives? We don't care about the remakes. We don't care about the ones that you're beefing up from the Xbox One and you're re-releasing them as a new Xbox Series. I want exclusive, completely ground up. That's what I want.
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Mega, what you ask him?
I think for me, my most important question I will ask him is seeing how Redfall turned out, what next steps will you take to help mitigate future disasters from occurring like this? That's what I want, because that initial reviewing like Turtle team they got for like the mock reviews, stuff like that, all the motherfuckers need to be fired, every single last one of them. So I'm like, y'all need to find some people who actually either know, I don't know if they were the op or whatnot, they were just planning, they were supercells planning in there to do that to y'all on purpose, but y'all need to get some fresh blood in there, because the numbers they gave y'all, they weren't mathing. So I'm gonna need y'all to go back to I need y'all to go back to the drawing board and figure out exactly what, whenever you delay these games, like what Bethesda said when they were delaying Starfield and Redfall due to quality assurance reasons, I need for y'all to actually fall onto your word when it comes to that quality, because it ain't like how it was back then, how you just release a game, it was on a cartridge or a disc back then, that was it. Whatever was on the game, that's how it is. If shit broken, it's shit broken. We are getting to the point nowadays where anytime I see any game release, like what happened with Star Wars, the game was good. It was like, oh yeah, it had a few bugs there. Yeah, it's crashed a few PCs. It's running kind of shitty on PlayStation, Xbox here and there. Release patch later. I am so tired of hearing like so many fans in the Discord saying that the game is good or whatever, but you know, it'll take a few patches to get it working exactly how way it is. Hey, these people want their money up front, right? I think is 100% acceptable that I should get a 100% working product up front if you want your damn money up front too. That's all I'm saying. That's what I want.
What would you ask him?
I would probably ask him, what's your screening process for your mock testers for your games?
Yeah.
I would ask what's the process behind that? What's the grading scale that they're looking at in terms of the playability, the technology, the frame rate? Or yeah, I mean, like to be honest, I'm real talk, because you mean I've outside of games, I've worked with other companies that are gaming development companies, and they've acquired many studios. Yeah. And they bring in all these folks, and the first thing they do when they bring them in is they consolidate and figure out, okay, who's staying, who's going, who's going to move on to, the green pastures, find another company, right? And they pick the best people that they need to figure out what they're going to do to develop a really solid game. So if they have those studios already entrenched, who are they bringing in as a third-party resource to test these games? Because clearly they missed the mile. They missed it by 10, 12, 100 miles on this last game with Redfall. And it kind of, if you're testing with 20 or 30 people, that's not enough. That's not a good sample size to really test the game. Hell, they didn't release a beta for Redfall. Why not? Because
they were shooting. They knew what was going on. They knew
they you know what would have saved face is that they would have done that, and then the consumer would have said, this game is trash, take it back to the team, revamp that mess, and then bring us a solid game once it's done, or just scrap it. Hey, take the L. Actually,
you know what? To add to that, Retro, I just thought of something. My personal line of work, I'm a project manager, right? And the one thing you just said, there was like one more thing I add to that too. In terms of just how, again, this is me speaking from the standpoint of a project manager.
Yeah.
The scope of how certain games, when it comes to their announcements and trailer releases, like what does that look like internally? Like, for example, I think it was 2020, maybe 2021. They said Fable was in development by Playground Games, right? They also said they got an Indiana Jones game coming. That may have been like a year or 6 months out from that initial announcement, whatever. A new Fable was coming. They're announcing all these different games, Perfect Dark, things of that nature, showing these trailers. What is it that goes through their mind when they show these trailers, and then they know that the timelines for these projects are at least about 3 to 4 years off? It's like, all right, we got whatever award show coming up. Let's make a 10 to 50 second highlight reel of like the next Fable that's coming out. Wipe our hands clean. It's like, all right, see you motherfuckers in about 4 or 5 years. That's the only thing y'all getting from us. It's like I'm gonna need, because I've been telling people this for a long time. Like, even when I saw the trailer for Redfall back in like 2021, the amount of hype that I'll be seeing people give for like these CGI trailers that's not indicative over what the game is gonna be like, I'm gonna need for that shit to stop. Yeah, because it's one thing to show a trailer. It's like, oh yeah, this shit is awesome. It's like people getting their head blown off, stuff like this, that, and the third, yada yada yada. But how much of that trailer that you showed is going to be representative of that final product that's going to come out? Like that shit needs to stop. And in my opinion, I have a rule in my personal place of work. If it's more than 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, it shall not be. So if that motherfucker is more than 3 years out, I don't want to hear or see nothing of it.
Stuff I don't want to forget about tomorrow.
Like what Bethesda did with Elder Scrolls 6, and when Todd Howard walked his lying ass on that stage and says, "Oh yeah, we got a trailer for you, and it's the one you guys keep asking about. Show Elder Scrolls 6." I'm sitting in the back of my mind like, damn, that shit ain't coming out for another 8 years. Why are you showing me this, bro? Like, that needs to stop.
Too early.
That needs to stop.
So, Gamer,
that would be my only question.
Well, let's get this question. Gamer, before you say what you're going to say, what question would you ask him?
I would have asked him, like, what, meaningful and, like, tangible changes are you going to do with the entire, game development process across studios? What support teams are you going to put in place? how are you going to, basically try to ensure the cadence of releases and the quality so that when the games come out, that everybody is like, hey, these are stellar games. You don't have to be a fan of the console to want to play this game. So what, material changes are you going to do in the pipeline and production, to be able to get these games out at quality and be able to get them out on time? And it's like, I'd hold his feet to the fire on that.
Okay.
Good point.
Yeah, y'all, this is like I said, this is
kind
a
of
heated conversation. Hold on.
Well, there was another point.
Gamer, hold on. But like I said, this is a heated conversation. If anybody want like in the next couple minutes, we want to take some questions from the audience. So if anybody got some questions for us related to the Xbox, not about and just what our favorite game is, not like that, about this to top of the conversation, because this is a really serious and a great topic tonight, because we are all gamers. We all here, we do love every system, and Xbox has been slacking. So if you have Xbox questions in the chat, type them in right now. You can send a super chat, that way help support the channel. Please do, if you would like to do that like other people are doing. But if you have questions, let us know, and we're going to continue this chat, but we will be taking questions and stuff like that. This has been good. Make sure, we almost hit 100 people watching tonight. We got 67 likes. Y'all are killing it. Thank y'all so much. This means a lot. We had a good
I brought the heat.
Yeah, you brought the heat. You brought
fire.
They said, ooh, spot hating. I'm there.
Gamer needs a hug after this right here.
He do need a hug.
Hey man, check your blood pressure. Check your blood pressure after this, man. Like
the doctor's gonna need.
He said we good.
And also too, we want to thank our special guest. Been trying to get my boy Steve from the Tech Buzz on. He's a John Cena man-child loving whatever it is looking dude. He loves John Cena too much. So yeah, he talking about the Fruity Pebble.
Listen to this Fruity Pebble over here talking all that smack, man. Yo, he's talking all this smack now. Wait till he sees me in person next week. He's gonna be like, I'm sorry for calling you Fruity Pebble. Just wait. I got something for you.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
And I'm gonna give it to you on camera. So when we're live,
he gonna give it to you.
Be no boxing, no judge.
Oh, you listen. Everybody, you guys got to tune in for it, because it's gonna be epic. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's gonna be a bag of great value Fruity Pebbles, isn't it?
Oh no. This will decimate even that.
Oh my!
This goes. Yeah, this is really good.
Yeah, next week we're gonna be at Chorus Con, guys. Be out at Chorus Con, another gaming event in Columbus, Ohio. I will be there. Make sure you get your tickets. It's gonna be pretty fun. I'm gonna be there. I might buy some games. I'm not trying to buy no more games. I bought so many in Japan. Make sure you check Japan.
Don't lie, Steve.
Don't buy games. Don't lie.
He's gonna buy games. You're not.
Of course, he's gonna buy games.
Hey. I also too, y'all, I gotta say before the other thing we was talking about before the show, and that too. And then next month.
Oh, is that the part that we missed because you didn't turn on the broadcast?
That's good. I'm glad too. I'm glad they turned that part on. But no, like I said, we got questions, so I'm going go through the chat and see if anybody got questions and stuff. And so, Gamer, before Gamer has a heart attack, we're gonna let him get his question out and stuff. I'm glad my boy. He's been a friend for 20 years, and he's very passionate about Xbox. I always mess with him about it, but it's very good. So let's talk about it. All right, Game, go ahead, talk about it.
No, hey, look, man, it's like I love gaming. Like, that is the hobby. Gaming is the hobby, and it's like I want good quality everywhere that I can get my hands on it. It's like ultimately, it's like you look at what's going on with Xbox and it hurts, because there was a time where they weren't in the position that they're in right now, right? Like, it was neck and neck in the US market during the Xbox 360 PS3 era. It was neck and neck. Globally, PS3 still squeaked out a win, but man, it was close. And you had that momentum going into the Xbox One PS4 era. And it's sort of like somebody just took a knife and just, shanked me right in the kidney. I mean, I just sat there, screaming in silence, bleeding internally, going, what have you done to my baby? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, ultimately there were some good games that did come out on the Xbox One for sure. Love the Xbox One X. I thought it was one of the coolest pieces of tech that Microsoft had ever put out. It was an amazing machine, fantastic. And it's like, but then they gave us the promise, right? Like I remember when it was the Video Game Awards and they showed the intro trailer for the Xbox Series X, and they showed us what the form factor for the console was. And my jaw just hit the floor. I was like, what are they doing? This is so weird. It's a tower. It's going to be all the, they're going to make up for all of the misgivings and missteps that happened during the Xbox One, PS4 era. I was so stoked. I mean, I was looking at that. The buzz was all over the place. All the people were talking about it. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, this is so freaking cool. Then the specs came out and we just sat there and were like, oh, hell yes. You got, 12 teraflops of power. You've got a 3.8 gigahertz CPU. You've got like all these, computational units into the graphics card, and it can do this and it can do that. And it's got 3D spatial audio and blah, blah, blah. And we're just all sitting there going, hell yes. They got the memo. They fixed all the problems that were with the original Xbox One, and they are not going to be second fiddle to anybody in terms of power. So we were like, great, you got the foundation set. Now the games are coming. Oh my God, Halo is going to be a launch title. They're going back to their roots. We get to like see a truly next-gen Xbox title, and all that promise and all that goodwill, because people had the hope, right? It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like we were walking through the desert, and there was nothing to eat for the entire console generation before it, and now we're about to get to the promised land. We're about to have manna coming down from heaven. We're about to have like this oasis, and we're walking into it, and it's like everybody's excited and they're salivating, and it's like, oh my God. And then what happened? COVID. Now, COVID happened to everybody, not just Microsoft. And somehow, some way, both Nintendo and Sony were able to stay above the fray, and they were, they had some missteps, they had some game delays, no doubt. That's 100%
Nintendo had
fact.
Animal Crossing.
Absolutely, Animal Crossing literally, it turned into one of the most played games during COVID.
Yeah.
Because people needed the escape, they needed the mindlessness, and just, hey, I've got this little island, and I'm digging up these little roots, and I'm gonna hit the tree and get the wood and the fruit, and that's like, oh, that's all I need, because people needed the escape, and it was awesome. And non-gamers started playing that game. So many non-gamers became gamers because of Animal Crossing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have, and so it's like, but at the end of the day, both Sony and Nintendo got through COVID way better than Microsoft did. And then it's just been, stumbling. It's like your drunken uncle, right? It's like, dude's like, I'm like, bro, just come in the house, man. Like, why can't you just walk up the steps, bro? It's like, you don't need to walk on your forehead. Now I got to, fucking stitch you up and make sure I've got a CT scan so you don't have a brain bleed and you don't have a fractured neck. And it's like, you're making me do all this extra shit. And yes, I love you, but goddamn, quit fucking up, bro. It's like, and that's the flavor that is left in everybody's mouth. And you're like, okay, all right.
We gotta get to the super chat real quick.
No, listen, we're finally at E3.
we gotta get the super chat. I know. I understand. Listen, Gary, we're gonna go next 2 minutes. We can get my hug.
No, do the super chat, right? Do the super chat.
We got react.
But just let me finish my point. Do the super chat. Let me finish my point.
Your point will go on for the next 30 minutes.
No, I promise. I'm wrapping it up.
Wrap that shit up, B. Wrap that shit up.
Wrap it up. You gonna wrap that? You gonna wrap it up?
Look, give me a timer. Give me 2 minutes.
Seconds.
So anyway, we get to E3. They promise us all this stuff, and then guess what? They said that we're never gonna screw you guys over again. You're gonna have regular release dates. These are when the next games are coming out in the next 6 months. Boom! None of that shit happened the right way.
There we go. Fine.
Go ahead, do your super chat.
That's why I love Alex. Y'all haven't met my friend, but this is highlight because he has really. But when he get on one, like he just did 3 minutes ago, y'all can't how to stop this man. But we got he's trying to lighten the mood up. He said, "Do y'all think Fable can make a comeback? Do y'all think Fable can make a comeback?"
And in name, yes. In name, yes. That's caveat. In name, yes, but in spirit, no. Because you got to remember, it ain't Lionhead Studios making this time around, because motherfucking Microsoft decided to kick them to the curb too. It's Playground Games now. And the only reason I say it's gonna be in name, not in spirit. Fable was a very particular type of RPG made from a particular specific developer, especially like the nuances of like the comedy, the way it was designed, stuff like that. So I don't see Fable being the way it was from Playground Games, the way it was like from Lionhead Studios with 1, 2, and 3. So just keep that in mind.
Better? What if it's better?
Oh, that's great. That's great. I mean, if it's
I think they're gonna say something about Fable at this next showcase. They need to, because when last time they said Fable, like 2 years ago?
It's been about 2 years.
I forgot.
Dang, like he said he forgot. Look at this.
Yeah, it was like during the Game Awards, either 2020 or 2021. So it's probably been almost about 3 years now.
Now look,
2020 was a blur.
Look, Destiny trying to be funny, but my boy, I don't know if it's for me or for the game. The game is married. He said he's going through every promise his ex made to him after she broke his heart. Yeah, Xbox broke our heart. Destiny trying to dunk on my boy. I don't know if that's her or me.
It's like, I mean, at the end of the day, like again, it's like if I'm a fan and I care. And it's like, and then somebody's like, well, don't care, or it's like you're caring the wrong way. I mean, they can just fuck off and die. I mean, it's like at the end of the day, it's like, it's my choice and how I interpret things and how I enjoy things. So it's like, I ain't even messed up about it.
There we go. He ain't fucked up about it. Yo, I told you, hey.
No, I'm standing my ground. I respect that.
Yeah, I respect it. It's a good thing too, because like it's good to have other systems. Because all of us in here, we have every other system.
Oh,
yes, it is good funny to talk about like just being about Xbox, but it's okay because I'm more PlayStation. I was singing it to the praises. I love the shit out of PlayStation. That's my number one go-to. Then it's PlayStation. Then it's Xbox. I mean PlayStation, Nintendo. Then freaking Nintendo. But I can see like, man, that 360 years was good. Man, all of us, we was like, I want that 360 years back. It's like 360 is like that great piece of chocolate cake or whatever kind of sweet that you like, and you ate every time you like think about it, and then make your jaws puff up. You're like, oh, that was
boy, the 360 era. The 360
we had exclusives.
The 360 was the bottom, bitch. It held up all the other ones above it. It was like 360, and it was like the PS3.
Hold on,
and then it was the Wii. It was like, y'all see that tower game? See that PS3 and the Wii?
No, go back. I know about that. What you just said.
I know about that. But you see that bottom bitch right there? That's that Xbox, baby. That's that Xbox. It's holding up all the other shit right there. It has a good back.
Oh my god!
Wow,
strong back. Strong back.
That's funny. We got another question in the chat. It says, does Microsoft still need physical Xbox console, or do the gamers need it more? That is a great question, because we're at that, like I said earlier, we're at that crossroads, because our generation, the gamers right now, like people are like 30 and under. Well, I can't say that. I can't say 30 and under. I say 25 and up. 25 love physical games, but these new generations and stuff like that, I think they don't really care. Like I always look at my nephews. They don't have many like digital games. They got all physical. My sisters call me like, "Hey, why can't I get a Nintendo card?" And when she said, I just like, "Oh, you need a gift card," and then like a little piece of me like, "Oh." See, because she like, first of all, she works 9 to 5 job. She got a big, nice job. Her and her husband, and then just giving them a download code and they can go get what they want. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like physical games. Like I love physical games. But right now, do they need a console? Where they going? They probably don't. They probably gonna be like Roku and get like a little plug-in in your TV. Mm-hmm. That's what they want to go.
It's built into your Samsung TV. You don't even need it. It's just
something I've wrestled with as a physical collector, and I want to ask you guys this, because ever since these consoles became internet connected, physical games. How many times have you bought a physical disc? Now I'm not talking Switch, but even this falls into the Switch category. The first thing that it does is download an update. So is a physical disc mean anything anymore? Because
it doesn't.
If they shut the servers down and you buy a game that you didn't have, but it needs the update to play it, you basically got a paperweight.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what it is. I mean, we're hearing cases now where you've got physical discs that just have the code on it.
Yep.
And you're actually just having a download code on a physical disc. You're really just paying for a code that's in physical form. So
take it even further, Retro man. We got box games being shipped out here with codes in them.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't
Forget that too.
Collector's editions.
Don't
With
forget
the
that.
whole code, you're paying
Mhm.
$300 for a collector's
You
edition.
paying
and you just got a code.
you paying $275 collector's
Like-
edition. You get a steel book but no disc in it. Like,
Street Fighter 6. Street
Yeah, I
Fighter 6
know.
is I was
That's
reading
one of them
through
too.
the fine print.
Oh no.
I was
Yeah.
reading through the fine print. It said it comes with the standard edition. I was like, but I don't see a physical copy in this picture, this diagram.
You see a
So,
10. You see
a 10, but
yeah,
that
you
10
see
is
look,
going to
You see
contain
one of
a
these
code.
right here. You see a 10.
Oh,
It's
my
going to
God.
contain a code and no disc.
And they doing that more because you know what? That kind of messed me up when I got Horizon. That really
Yep,
messed
and
me
God
up.
of War.
And God of War. That really
Yeah, but
messed me
you guys
up.
have to realize you're a bunch of old heads, right? Like, I mean, at
Duh,
the end of the day,
we
no,
are.
hold up. No, listen, I am an old head too, but it's like it's just going to continue to go digital. Eventually,
It is.
you'll not even have a code. You will have a subscription service like Microsoft Game Pass or whatever Xbox Game Pass or whatever you want.
Mhm.
And that's how you're going to be accessing games. And you remember, it's like for the purists, whenever like all the music streaming services, kind of the first generation of them, like Napster and like all that kind of stuff. And then now everybody's got like Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. Nobody says, well, I'm sad I can't buy a CD anymore. And guess what? Vinyl's better anyway, and you can still buy vinyl. So I don't think that physical is going to go away, but like it'll be like limited run, and then like the
Yeah.
limited run company, and they'll put out like a
Mhm.
specific set number of like physical copies of the full game on it and
Mhm.
stuff like that. The Game Preservation Society has been like all over this, and they basically just been like, yeah, we don't even rate Microsoft anymore because all they have on their discs is effectively a code to be able to do the DRM so that you can play the game. And it's like even PlayStation is putting less and less content on the actual disc, and they're going towards that model. And it all comes back down to when you look at the licensing agreements, like when you purchase a game, what are you actually purchasing? You're not purchasing the game, you're purchasing a license to play the
License
game.
to play it. Yep.
I mean, take a look at it from a boxed store perspective. How many stores, and this goes for everybody in the chat as well, how many local stores, whether that's your local Target or Wally World or wherever, or just a retro store, the lack of brand new physical games are on the shelves. We're seeing less and less.
That space is getting small.
The spaces are getting smaller and the
Mhm.
shelves are emptier and emptier. Yeah, you got the new releases that come out, but wait 3 or 4 weeks and you start seeing the shelves are more barren, just because these companies are not selling as much physical as they once were, and the inventory
facts.
requests
Mhm.
that they're putting in for these games is less. And then the games that they do have in inventory that don't sell, guess what happens to them? They punch them out, they write them out of their inventory, and they write them as a loss. They damage them out and throw them in the dumpster. That's exactly what happens.
And then when this is what I got from GameStop, people at GameStop, they say whenever they pre-order stuff. Now this is kind of crazy. The pre-order stuff, they only get in the game. Some games like okay, this was a game called Poison Control on the PS4. I'm still trying to collect a lot of the like NIS America like RPGs because later on there's things gonna skyrocket. But they only get 2 of those games outside of the pre-orders, and that's it. Look what just happened to Mega Man Network Battle Collection. That thing was like limited on the Switch. They had to put another run out. Look at the Metroid stuff. You seeing these games, these popular games, or older games too, but even like obscure games like the Poison Control on the Switch. Oh, Poison Control on the Switch didn't even get one in my store because nobody pre-ordered it, so they didn't get it. So these games like this are, especially this last generation PS4 and Xbox games, they're not making copies of that much of it. And you got to like think about it. If you're a collector like we all are, you have to figure out like, dang, do I buy it now or wait to pay for it even more later? And that's crazy too. That's even worse than paying $70 for a game, because it's forcing you right now to get it now or you won't get it. Because buying those games, especially like RPGs on eBay, Mercari, and stuff like that, people will fight over those, and they will raise the price. So like, I probably said I need to go buy that game tomorrow now. Because
do you feel that?
Have you ever? Just real quick on eBay, right? I'll jump in there on a game, even if I don't necessarily want it, and I will jack up the price just to see if anybody, will outbid me all the way to the end.
I I do that. I don't do that because I
absolutely
want
do
the
that.
game. I never do that. But what you about to say, Retro?
I was gonna ask the group here. Do you feel that we have one more generation of consoles that are going to continue to have physical, or do we feel like this is the last straw for
We got one
for
more.
Xbox and PlayStation in general?
No, I think we got one more.
at least.
We got one more.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
say one more,
You
and
got
and
one
knowing how PlayStation, because it seems like they're whatever new revision they're going to do with the PS5, it's seeming like it's going to be a diskless PlayStation 5. So this
I
is
was about to say,
probably,
what you say?
I would say
Well-
a dickless PlayStation.
Yeah, but they'll have the supplementary disk drive, right? Like you can
Mhm.
buy the disk drive if you want to. You know, honestly,
But
it's
that
like if I
worked. Hey,
had
that really worked out for the 360. Come on now.
No. But that was just the HD DVD drive for movies only. I'm talking about this is supposed to allow you to play games, so you can hook it up externally.
I don't want that, but
I mean,
you know what?
I don't want it either.
If you
but
think
I'm
about
just
it,
saying-
they're really behind the gaming consoles because computers have been diskless for what
Yeah,
7 years,
yeah.
oh yeah,
about
easy.
10,
maybe
almost
maybe
this
maybe
point.
10.
Easy 10,
10
yeah.
years.
That's a different audience though.
But
No,
they're
no, it
doing
is,
it.
but we're on
Yeah.
borrowed time right now.
Yeah,
is what
yeah,
I'm trying to
They're
say.
doing
That's
it
all.
for us because
Mhm.
we are the main consumer purchasing the
100%.
games.
Yeah.
Our
Mhm.
generation is still the number one percentage of consumers purchasing the games on the physical side. Now, once we make that shift within the next 10 years, yeah, it's a wrap. Like,
I will say, digital, especially the movies, it is so much. It is good. It is really kind of good because
Mhm.
if they just find a way to like resell your games like they do on Steam, you know, it is really good. Because like a couple of episodes ago, y'all, when we got a Retro to get a Steam Deck, and then we was buying all them games while we was online, like Steam has it great. Like those
Yeah,
sales, that's the only thing that worries me. Like Nintendo ain't budging. Nintendo still had their darn digital game Mario Odyssey, still $49 or $59. They don't bring that the $39 only like 2-3 times a month. I mean, I'm sorry, 2-3
year.
times a year.
Yeah.
And in Black Friday, they'd be like, well, you know what? We'll wait till Cyber Monday. You know what they really don't, but you know
That's what I think
do.
our physical, once we go all digital, that's where our physical collections that we've had from the past, that's where they're going to go through the roof because
man.
the other generation's going to be like, they're going to experience it and they're going to be like, what is this? I want this. And then it's going to be 2-3 times the price it is now.
Hey, the Wii, the Wii and the Wii U, 3D, all Nintendo stuff, Wii U, 3DS, it's gonna jump. Like I'm saying, like right here, like the 3DS, I'm telling you, it's gonna jump in price because GameStop say throw it away and keep this darn card. Just that's all they want to do, and that's how. And that's another thing. That's how I started my 3DS collection because I went to every GameStop and I got like about 120 individual cases, and then I just sat on them. I'm like, you know what? Can I complete this set? And I did. It's gonna get. I really do. Is like old head. I really do like man. But also too, when are we gonna age out of this shit? If we're gonna age out of this in another 20 years, you know, I mean,
Listen,
don't be like me.
we're the first generation and the last generation, right? Of people who were there every step of every generation.
like this guy who just asked this question right here. He's saying, if once our generation has passed, do you think the value of classic video games, Sega, Atari, will drop? No, it's going to actually go up. I don't never think like
Supply and demand.
it's supply and demand. Like we is going to go up. Like all these people, like who grew up. How many people grew up with the Wii? How many trash titles is there? How many new collectors came into the market? Look at WADA. Look at CGC. I mean, it's still a market there for all of that stuff.
You got to factor in disc rot too. Don't forget with these disc games.
Yeah.
So guys like you and us that are keeping them nice.
You coming in real hot too.
That's what's going to be. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Let me drop some quick Neo Geo knowledge for y'all real quick because I just found this out today.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. $3,000 game.
No. Let me. This completely blew me out of orbit. Like this is way out of my price range. So there's 2 games on the Neo Geo that are classified as the most rarest games of all time. Right? So there's one called Kazuna Encounter Tag Battle, which is a fighting game, and then Ultimate 11, which is classified in Europe as a football or soccer game. These are the two rarest games. The reason behind it is that SNK had a fire at one of their warehouses, and basically the factory exploded, and it caused a chip shortage for those games. There was inserts created, but there wasn't many. There was maybe 5 or 6 titles that were created for the US market for Kasuna Encounter. Those games are now considered in the realm of $100,000 to $200,000 because there's only 5 or 6 known to exist. Ultimate 11 is another one, very similar. There's unknown quantities. Everyone searched warehouses within SNK, and then the last 20 years, no one's found anything. So collectors that have these are, they have kept themselves hidden from the masses, right? So I say that for this purpose. We're going to hit a time within the next 20 years where we've been talking about PlayStation, Xbox, and all these things. There are going to be some gems there's going to be some trash-ass games. Let's just call it that. Trash-ass games that no one bought, and they were taken off the shelf, that are become the most obscure and most rare games to those collectors in that time frame in the future, because they can't find that game anymore. Either one, they were destroyed.
This is one.
Tossed. No one cared about it, or it's going to be completely rutted or disc rot. We're going to have that situation because they weren't carts, and it's not as easy as soldering and reinstalling a microchip or whatever.
Even what's happening more nowadays is just them either removing it from their online platform or them just not even putting it on it to begin with.
That is crazy to remove.
But do you guys also think, like I was talking with MG in the chat room, do you think a lot has to do with us too, in order to keep this alive, keep this going, is to educate like my kids? My son goes game hunting with me. He's pulled up Xbox 360 games, and he's just been like, these games are awesome. Like he's pulled up Dreamcast. He's like, Dad, why was this system killed? He goes, this is incredible. He goes, I would play this all the time. Like, I'm wondering if we did a better job of that, is educating the next generation to keep this alive. Otherwise,
that's why YouTube's around.
I think that's why this is what we're doing right here collectively.
YouTube is around. I mean, people are going to find this. This is going to be outlive us, as long as the YouTube stays up, people are going to find this. People are going to find, cartridge-based games. People probably will find this and stuff like that. I see why Nintendo commitment is the cartridge is still, it's still good. Look at all of these years, Nintendo 64. People are still, and it's still holding up. That thing's a tank. And when you think about how many games have just been lost to time, like the whole thing that happened with Scott Pilgrim, like if that whole situation didn't happen and then Lemon Run and step in and made that physical, that thing never would have came out again. And now, because since they stepped in, now future generations have an opportunity to play that game now. I just think of situations like that is like everybody in here who does collecting, it's pretty much our due diligence in order to to educate the next generations, to let them know that there's so much stuff that's fell by the wayside that you can't you can't buy in stores like that anymore, because people aren't carrying older titles unless you go to like a mom and pop or like a very obscure store or something like a garage sale, finding stuff like that, and either they're just not carrying them on the online storefront. So I would say there's probably been so many games that have just been lost to the annals of time that we just don't even know about anymore like that, because they'll pop up.
They randomly. 3 years I've been doing this, just 3 years. Like I played video games all my life, but the whole collecting piece, it's only been 3 years. And I've learned more in this 3 years than I ever did playing numerous games over the years. Like it's the amount of history that I've learned through various consoles, different games, being introduced to games that I never even heard of or even played. It's awesome to be a part of that type of culture, that type of community where we share that type of information. Like, hey, have you played this game? Yo, you missing out. This is a fire game. You need to test it out and at least play it for 30, 40 minutes and see if it's worth your time. Those are the kind of things that the next generation, hopefully, if they come back and see stuff like this, or if they're, reading a blog or whatever technology they have in, 20 years, that they're able to accept not not necessarily the tech, the graphic capabilities, because I mean, look at us. We go back and play some of these old games. We're like, damn, that didn't age well, right?
Go now.
We're like, oh, I love this game, but it's so rough to play.
Can we admit Goldeneye 007 didn't hold up like it should?
Yeah, it didn't hold up.
That's a drinking game nowadays.
But to that point, though, it brings back that feeling, that time when you were growing up, when you were playing with your buddies or your family or whatever, that experience that it just gave you that 100% warmth and great feeling when you were playing the game. It made you feel alive. It gave you that feeling of being entrenched in a different world. That's the part of video games that really hones in and brings the community together, I feel like.
I'll go ahead. Go ahead, Steven. What you saying?
No, go ahead.
I got you, sir. Appreciate it, but I'll make this quick. Everybody in here, for the most part, is collectors. Would y'all say that y'all found, since y'all been collecting, I've been doing it since 2018, 2019. Mm-hmm. Since y'all been collecting, would y'all say y'all found more titles than y'all never would have known about that end up coming some of your favorites? Yeah. Because top of my head, I can name 3. A stall, that one game that I found out, the one game I was able to get for like $20. Like a flea market.
Was a steal.
Yeah, that was a steal. Became one of my favorite 2D platforming games by far. Mark Echo's Getting Up, Contest Under Pressure. I told Steve and Roger about that. That shit's still killer.
And
freaking this one right here that I just got a couple weeks ago. This one, Gun.
That's a solid game.
Literally,
that's a solid game.
Watch the YouTuber do a review, deep dive analysis about it. I was word. That's pretty much like the predecessor to Red Dead Redemption. So I bought this stellar title. So it's just, as I've been collecting, I found more games that honestly it comes to my favorite.
I put out
there's something.
I bit off.
There's something.
Well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's something that's also kind of interesting because there's you've got collectors and then you've got preservationists, and they're not always the same thing, right? Like a collector doesn't necessarily, they're not always in it for the reason of preservation. And in fact, it's like if you look at a lot of the piracy and stuff that's out there, a lot of it actually, the preservationists will do that because they want to make sure that game is still playable, regardless of whether the cart is existent or the disc is existent or the hardware to play those things are existent, because they build the emulators and everything else to make those games, playable into the future. And it's like, the thing that I worry about, especially in the collection side of things, is that at some point, like most of us who are collectors have been collecting along the way over time. If let's say that you are, just born today, by the time you're 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, you have so many generations to go back through to be able to pick up stuff and understand the history of it and everything else. And it's like, I don't know if everybody is that same level of invested. I think that, the old heads that have been collecting along the way, sort of like the folks that, bought and preserved the original Star Wars toys and like the original He-Man toys, because they grew up with those, toys coming up, or they were slightly older than the demographic that it was aimed for. Those people were buying stuff and then putting them in storage, like sealing them up and everything else. And so like the 1 or 2 pristine copies of whatever that's out there, it's like, I don't know, because it's like we were saying earlier, the generation of gamers now, it doesn't hit the same way. And as we keep pushing forward and harder towards digital, there'll be less kind of people. I mean, all the stuff that's there to collect has, for the large extent will have been collected, but a lot of it ages out because this tech is constantly eroding over time. It's constant, like the disc rot, like, the cartridges themselves eventually start failing, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's like, what happens next? What are the digital only kids going to think about the hobby that we have and the collections that we've created? Is it just going to be something that, back in 1865 such and such happened and it's going to be in the Smithsonian, or is there still going to be a vibrant collection culture ongoing?
But you know what? Just like retro, I just started collecting back in 2018. Like I was on and off playing this growing up, but to really, like, I started watching Steve's videos on how to pick this stuff up, and like I started collecting. But my main thing is, you see the pinball tables behind me, the digital ones. I've got, just like retro, I've probably got like 25 arcade 1-ups over here that you can't see on the side here. My Fast and the Furious comes tomorrow. I was trying to recreate that 80s feel of an arcade. And I know they're one-ups, and I know they're not real before anybody jumps myself.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
I get
I'm all
that.
the way with you.
But you know what?
I
have another room. I have another room with 2,000 games going all the way back to the Atari 2600 that I've been collecting on and off. And watching Steve do the 3DS and some of my other buddies doing collections, I bit off a little bit more than I could chew, but I'm going to try it to collect the complete NES North American collection.
Woo!
I've already picked up 2 heavy hitters. I picked up Little Samson complete in box, and I also have
Stadium
and I
events?
also have Stadium Events.
Oh
that's
my
new.
God, this man's got it. He's done.
Okay, so
He got
I'm at in
How
6
the hell you
weeks.
get that?
Wait, in 6 weeks, I've picked up at different pawn shops, at different Goodwills, different.
You
things
didn't
like that.
find no stadium events, no pawn shop.
Dude. You'd be
No.
surprised where I found Stadium Events.
No, I need to know. No,
Wait,
time out.
So,
I need to know.
so I had so Stadium Events was sent to me by a viewer
Oh, okay.
of that's been watching. I've been doing what's up next on my channel. 6 weeks. They sent it to me and they said they wanted to bless my collection. They said they're trying to get rid of their stuff, and I know what it's worth. We all know what it's worth.
Damn.
But it was kind of like it was one of those things because I didn't know if I was going to keep going with the video.
Congratulations, man. That's good.
Bruh,
But
that's
I'm at like 150 in 5 years. But you know what? The kids, you know what they play the most when they come over here? Those pinball tables.
oh yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
never ever heard of pinball. Like I have kids that come over on game nights, Saturday nights, and adults, and we battle. Like we'll sit there and battle like for high scores, and then they'll go to the arcades. And even though some of them kind of didn't age well, Steve, you know that.
Yeah.
They still would rather play these than the consoles.
Let them play Battletoads.
It's the same. at my
Yeah,
house.
don't play that. No, that's like. But
Steve,
you
it's
see
the
what I'm
same.
saying? Like
It's the
Or
same.
TMNT.
I busted out the power
Real.
pad, right? Because I had just gotten the power pad, and these kids played track meet for 4 hours. They thought this was the coolest thing.
I'll try
Was to sit there and run on the power pad, right?
I use my hands on power pad like this.
Man, they used to wear us out back in the
Yeah.
day, man.
I did it
Oh my
once,
God.
and I realized my age. And after that, I was like, "Yeah, I ain't doing that again."
You be like this.
I'm not doing that again.
Dude,
y'all, we
congrats
understand.
on that.
We got to start.
Congrats.
Yeah, congratulations on that. But we got to start wrapping up. But this has been a really, really, really good time. This has probably been the best topic. We done had so much on the channel. And also, Brent, thank you so much for the 99-cent super sticker for supporting the channel. Y'all guys, y'all have been amazing. We're going to get ready to go around and let everybody know where you can find you. Starting with our special guest. He needs a hug, but he's my friend. He's one of my good friend for over 30 years. But he's been great. I love the passion. I love everything about this gamer. You're not really on social media, but tell people where they might can find you. Because also,
So
you hold
the
up.
eas-
You hold up.
So-
you do really good Twitter spaces. So go ahead and talk about that.
Well, so I first of all, shout out to my man Steve Wright. We've been friends for a hot minute, and you know, gaming is in the DNA, right?
It is.
He's my brother from another mother, and it's like we've been through thick and thin on a whole bunch of stuff, you know,
Oh, my
personal
goodness.
stuff, and then
Oh,
you know
yes.
the gaming stuff as well. And so I appreciate you for letting me come out onto your channel and
Yeah,
be
you
a
be
part
back,
of your
man. You
your
be back.
podcast.
Oh, you
Oh,
definitely
I
gotta
mean,
be
for
back.
sure, for
You
sure,
look this
for
shit
sure.
up. Like, you-
But yeah, it's like I'm in the process of actually opening up a YouTube channel. I'm not there yet. I have been spending a lot of time on Twitter and in the Twitter gaming spaces. Like I said, we're the crumb side of gaming, and so there's a lot of toxicity and things which a lot of people try to avoid, and I don't blame them. But you know,
I'm
there
there.
are some
Shit.
good
I'll be
quality
in it.
people for sure. So if you want to find me, catch me on Twitter at Alexander Tyler, and that way you guys can come and follow along. But I will be starting a YouTube channel soon with a friend, and it should be lit. I just got my Powerhouse workstation in, and I'm in the process of fine tuning. And then as soon as that's locked and loaded, we should be good to go live.
Sweet, sweet. And
That's
the
what's up.
King Fruity Pebble on the cake. The King of the Fruity Pebble. The King
Wait, you were the one
of
wearing the crown and the cape.
Huh?
You were the one wearing the crown and the cape. I'll pull it up on Instagram.
Hey, I
Oh.
know, but you know what? But you are the King John Cena fan. You know, you can't see him. But you can see
I'll
you.
admit to that. That was back when The Rock was back, and you and I were warned back and forth because it was The Rock and John Cena, and I was a John
Yeah.
Cena fan. So that's how that all started when Rock started calling him a fruity pebble.
But yeah, man, tell everybody what you do and how can they find you, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You guys can go. I run the Tech Buzz Gaming. I do a show every Thursday night at 9 p.m. called Game Time, where we cover everything from home arcade to consoles, anything in gaming. I have a good panel, and I'm going to be out there as a special guest with Mr. Wright. The right way. We're gonna do Korgs the right way, right? Is that what we're doing?
We're gonna do it the right. Yeah,
we're gonna do it the right way. We're gonna do it the Fruity Pebble way.
I hate you. I hate you. You go to hell. You go to hell.
Oh.
And Omega, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, y'all can catch me on YouTube, Twitter, especially in these Twitter spaces, because just like Alex was saying, I do be dwelling in these crumb sides, or some people be calling it the peasant side. Get some of my hot takes there. YouTube, mention that, IG, and yeah, 3 main social media platforms. That's why I be.
And the $1 Million Man, Neo Geo.
I'm not rich, y'all. I promise I'm not.
Now he's not rich, but boy, hey, that Neo Geo collection,
shit looking nice, man.
I appreciate it. Retro Neo Ness. You can find me on Instagram. I post once or twice, every other week it seems. New pickups, etc. And then you can also find me on my YouTube page, Retro Neo Ness. I try to talk about all things Neo Geo and a couple other things outside of that as well. And then I also have a secondary podcast that I'm on with my buddy Zelda Hat Guy called Saved by the Game on YouTube. Check us out there.
Well, that's cool, guys. I knew this topic was going to be spicy. I know it's going to bring it because we had so many people. Oh my goodness, it's been crazy. And Brent, I want to stay on Brent. Hey, I want to stay on Brent.
One of our best ones from the downfall of Xbox news. Ain't that a bitch?
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, goodness. But Brent keeps sending these stickers. Keep on sending them, Brent. We might want to stay on, but we got to get out because I know people want to go to bed and stuff. But guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Probably going to get back at the same time. Well, no, I'll be in court, so we might do a little early. But anyway, we'll see you next time on the Right Way Podcast. And guys, always remember to do it